Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-on-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Okay, here we go. Lots of stories, folks, to cover here today. We did a poll finding out which one you guys want to talk about. You want to talk about the Conor McGregor speaking at the White House as if he's going to be going and saving Ireland. And by the way, he gave a message afterwards. What do you think about what this person had to say? He says, I employ 200 or 300 people. Shame on him to say anything. So it looks like he wants to do something. That was interesting. There's a very interesting thing we found in Gene Hackman's living trust and their will, which is very weird that if they died within 90 days of each other, very confusing when you see something like that. Definitely very weird. The Autopen thing we talked about last week, President Trump tweeted about it. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are saying he's just doing this to kind of get the conversation. Then the press secretary is being asked about it by what is the girl's name from CNN?
Kristen Welker.
Kristen Welker.
Yes.
And her rebuttal to her is the best.
I thought it was Caitlin Collins.
No, it was Caitlin Collins. It was Caitlin Collins.
CNN. CNN.
Yeah,
Is it CNN? Yeah, that's
And
CNN.
she got slapped.
You have to hear what she says back. It's a beautiful thing. Anthony Mackie, the actor, Anthony Mackie, talks about something. I don't know if you guys saw this clip or not. Okay, you have to see this. He says something about his boys, the way he raises his sons. And Hollywood has lost their mind. And if you don't know who Anthony Mackie is, he's the guy from, is he the Black Panther? Rob, is he one of the Black Panther?
I believe he's Captain America
He's
now.
Captain America. Right? Captain America. And you got to see the way he answered. And by the way, more stuff going on with Venezuela, Tren de Aragua. We'll talk about that. Don Lemon says, if you're black and MAGA, you're not very intelligent. Some word like that he used. I'll let him explain it to you because, he's very good at explaining these types of things.
They weren't rational.
They were irrational.
He's channeling Joe Biden.
That's right. So Don Lemon then, Bill Maher then has Batya Sergon explaining tariffs to him. And it's a very, very unique exchange. Good for him for having these types of conversations. Two of them are with Bill Maher. We're going to talk about the Greenland mineral deals. BlackRock, which is kind of weird. Rob, if you can tell me what page the story is on for the BlackRock one, because these are my new notes. If you can just text it to me. BlackRock buys Panama Canal a few weeks ago quietly and nobody talks about it for $22.8 billion. It is controlled by Panama, but BlackRock buys it. How do you feel about it? I don't know. I don't know. We can talk about it. It's definitely an interesting thing to talk about. Democrats have the lowest rating in the last 30 years, according to CNN. Wow. Since they started measuring this, it's the lowest it's ever been for 30 years, but they're still not learning their lessons, which maybe they want to break their own records, and you got to respect it. They're very competitive.
Beat your prior best. Go for it.
Beat your prior best. And then I saw a clip I got to show to you guys from the 80s. These two guys from two different computer companies are showing off their computers.
Okay.
And the guy's asking questions of how much these computers are. You will be blown away
at the price
of these computers in that time. Canada is latest hit to hit America where it hurts. Tom's got some thoughts on that as a Canadian. His family's Canadian. He was born and raised here. Then we have a couple other things with the pardons we'll address. U.S. Senate passes stopgap funding bill to avert government shutdown. Charlemagne the God, Schumer, Jeffries should step down. Schumer had a rough week. A lot of people going after Schumer. We'll definitely talk about what happened with Schumer this week. They're calling him a person that caved to the president, to President Trump.
Boss.
Astronauts stuck in orbit for months, finally set to come home. Bloomberg, that's the title. You know what they don't put in the title?
Who saved them?
It's SpaceX.
Yeah.
Went out there to save them.
Rescued by the wrong guy.
I have a clip by Elon Musk, an interview with Ted Cruz. Guys, this is a very disturbing clip. I'm telling you, it's a very disturbing clip when I play it to you. I actually got to tell you, Ted Cruz should start a podcast. I don't know if he did or not. It was actually very good questions he asked.
Called The Verdict. I think the podcast is called, whatever they're
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it was great. It was great questions he asked. We got some things with JP Morgan Chase. Lawrence O'Donnell taking a break. He says, I'm exhausted at Trump's day 52. Aww. And poor guy's going through it right now. Trevor Brower's exiled from MLB over Trump support. Andrew Tate cannot hide fury as Florida welcome brings yet more legal trouble. Adam partied with them on. You went to a church or a library, something like that on Saturday
We
night.
went to a mosque, Pat,
Yeah.
and I might be
I can
converting
totally
now,
see you
but
there.
It was great.
Angel Reese says the WNBA could go on a strike over salaries. I have some ideas.
9 people are going to be upset.
That's
9
right.
lesbians.
And then
22 TV viewers.
Ex-Las Vegas police captain accused of cover-up in Sean Diddy Combs.
Oh, that's a good
one. And
one,
then there's
Pat.
a couple other stories here that we'll get into. Who knows? President Trump said they're releasing the JFK, files today.
Vinny, why are you rolling your eyes?
Well, because I'm telling you guys right now, I am at my wit's end with that. Like this is it. If they do this whole redacted thing, Pat, I'm finished because our patience is we're done. For that, remember that 12% that we're talking about that care about this type of stuff? How many more? They keep dangling it and then they're moving it.
So you'll be an even angrier patriot?
I'm gonna be really pissed off if today they go
Damn.
like this.
We don't need that.
Guys, let me kind of cover with you guys what happened last Thursday. We announced the Yeti collaboration with all of these. Like this, gone, okay? And by the way, a bunch of guys are posting them. Ladies, this was the ladies' number one. You guys wouldn't even wait on this one here. This didn't stand a chance. And I have the red one, which is the one I use. Reason why I'm not wearing a jacket, because I'm famous for spilling protein drinks on my jacket. And by the way, literally what I'm telling you is, this isn't the first time. A couple of weeks ago, I spilled the whole thing, and I'm driving. I'm like, this place smells like a protein drink. So, wow, this thing's very strong. I look to my right, the entire protein drink on the entire car. We have to take it professional. They have to suck the protein drink out of the seat in the Porsche 911. They're like, this is... Anyways, the guy made some money that day.
Just thank God it wasn't onions, Pat.
But well, at least it smells good. Anyways, these went. And we have a lot of new surprises coming up for a lot of you. But I will tell you guys, parents, if you have kids that are 12 and up, including yourself, if you have not yet ordered the Academy, go order it. You will see why, okay? There's a lot of people that are not happy about this book. There's a lady that made a video about this, about, the Academy online, pissed off. How could you say stuff like this in the book? Because there's a scene in the book that Margaret Thatcher is debating Karl Marx. If you haven't yet ordered it for yourself and your kids and you've not read it, go ahead and order the book. Anybody that places the order today, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, signed copy of this, they get 4 bookmarks of the Academy that'll be put in there with you as well for anyone that orders a book, especially the fact that this is what do they call this month, Rob? March is
National Reading Month.
National Reading Month. Catch up on the books, place the order for Academy for yourself and your kids above the age of 12, which is what I did with my kids. My Dylan also read it. You'll get 4 custom bookmarks being sent your way. All right, let's get right into it. First story I want to start off with is the Autopen story. Okay, Rob, if you can go to the Truth Social the president had, I'll read that, then there's a video of him talking about it. So this is the president. We talked about this last week, okay? And a lot of the clips of the moment while we're going back and forth, and then Vinny reads the ChatGPT that says pardons cannot use Autopens, right? And then boom. That clip is all over X that's being shared, but this is the president on the 17th sharing this yesterday. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force for effect because of the fact that they were done by Autopen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is they're probably responsible for the Democrats that were signed on their behalf without their knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of our country, Crooked Joe Biden. Okay, he posted this. Rob, do you have the clip of him being asked this on the plane? I don't know if you have it or not. If you can play that, because that's the Truth Social, then this is when he's being asked about it and he's given his response. Go ahead, Rob.
Are those executive orders, those pardons from the former president now null and void?
Well, I think so. It's not my decision. That'll be up to a court. But I would say that they're null and void because I'm sure Biden didn't have any idea that it was taking place. And somebody was using an Autopen to sign off and to give pardons to, as an example, just one example, but the J6 Unselect Committee. they gave, think of it, they gave pardons with an Autopen. I don't think Biden knew anything about it. And what they did is they deleted and destroyed all of the information that took them over a year to get.
Okay, so that's that part. Now, Rob, go to the clip where the press secretary is being asked about it by CNN. How could you say something like this? How do you know the credibility behind it? 16 seconds. What she says at the end is very powerful. Go for it.
Talking about issuing preemptive pardons to
What's her name, by the way?
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House. Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware?
Watch this.
You're a reporter. You should find out, Sean.
That's your job. If you call yourself a journalist, go ask the questions and find out if that happened or not. Before I come to you guys, can you go to the tweet, Rob, when I posted this tweet? Something very interesting happened. If you go to the tweet, when I posted this, click on it to go to the comments if you could. Okay, so go lower, and I want to actually see the guy that says grok. What do you have to say about this? Go a little lower. Keep going lower. Is this all on my tweet, Rob, or no?
Yes.
Okay, right there. Go above that. Okay, go above that on what somebody said, because I posted that above somebody that said grok. Can you verify this? Hey, Pat, genuine question. Where is it written that it has to be a wet signature? Curious. So I asked ChatGPT, and Grok responded to this. We asked, can presidents use Autopen for pardons? No, U.S. presidents cannot use an Autopen to sign pardons. The Constitution grants the president all executive or inclusive all order to issue pardons under Article Section 2, and legal interpretation suggests that a pardon must be personally signed, wet signature, by the president to be valid. Now watch what Grok says. Grok responds and says, research shows Autopen is likely valid for pardons, not just admin docs. No legal rule requires a wet signature. Presidents like Obama use it for bills, and Biden's pardons faced no legal voiding despite debate. Your claim, I cannot read the rest, Rob, on the bottom, seems off-base on history and practice. So you got ChatGPT and Grok who don't agree with each other. The only thing that's left is us bringing in a constitutional lawyer. By the way, Grok kept getting involved and saying more things and more things and more things and more things. This was actually a very good experience. I would love to see a podcast between Grok and right there. Click on that one right there with
Grok and ChatGPT going at it.
That's exactly it. Go a little lower, Rob. So he's questioning. So then Grok responds, no evidence that Biden's pardons were unauthorized or invalid due to Autopen signatures. Legal precedent like a 1920 Solicitor General's opinion supports their validity, as the Constitution does not specify signing methods of pardon. Historical use by presidents, can you go a little more, including Obama, backs this up, claims of illegitimacy, seems like more political tactics. So Grok is calling out President Trump, is what Grok is doing, just to kind of be straight up. Go back one, Rob, if you could. Go back one to continue to see if he responds. More stuff, Grok, keep going down. If there's more stuff that Grok said. This kept going and going and going. So, Vinny, your thoughts on this?
Oh, man. I hate to be those people, that saying that we told you so. From the beginning, we knew that Joe Biden was not in charge. Every single time, Tom was one of the first ones that pointed it out. Every time there was a conversation or something was happening and they wanted to actually ask him questions, he would turn and be like, listen, I wish I could. They told me I can't. And from the beginning, we were saying, who the hell is the they? We know Blinken and all these people are involved, but it's who, guys? Who's the actual person? Because we have investigations. Remember, we said last year was a year investigation. The team is in place. I want all of this investigated, because if you think about it, who are we talking about right now? Anthony Fauci, okay, Mr. Fauci himself. This is, and like I said, our patience has been running thin. People like me that have been ride or die with this whole movement, that have gotten freaking bullied, punched in the head because I was wearing a red hat in LA. We deserve something. We want somebody to go to jail for what they've done. I know we're going to get into Hunter later, but Fauci and everything that he did, General Mark Milley, which is basically, Pat, what he was doing was treasonous. He was saying, if something happens, I'm going to tell China that we're going to attack. That's all treasonous, especially coming from a general. And then the January 6th committee. I think, especially with this type of investigation, if it's for sure that his signature wasn't involved, it wasn't actually him, I want them all to be lifted, and then the real investigations have to happen. I want accountability for everything that these people have done. Tom. Plain and simple.
I think there's a trouble brewing here. And the trouble that I think is brewing is things like this, the Oversight Project showing that it was conclusively like, well, they're saying, and their claim is it's nearly conclusive that these are all Autopen signatures. So we have that. Now we have even the press asking about it. You know, CNN's asking about it, and you have citizens asking about it on X and in other places. So now you're only one step from a senator or a congressman asking about it. And I think what's about to happen here is this is going to boil up, and it's going to end up in front of the Supreme Court because it has to do with executive powers, and specifically the execution and proper execution of executive powers. So I think this is, number one, it's not going away. And number two, if it gets to the Supreme Court, I've gone down the list. I think this is 5-4. I think this is, if it gets to the Supreme Court, should you or should you not use the Autopen? The conservative view is probably going to come down 5-4.
And let me ask you a question, though. If that comes down 5-4, Tom, and it's all lifted and all the pardons are null and void, does he have Cash Patel and Pam Bondi go after these people for what they freaking did to him?
That's a second question, and I think you probably could answer that with, depending on the people, you got a couple hell yeses in there, Anthony Fauci, and you've got a couple maybes.
Okay.
Okay, let's do this. Rob, what clip do you have? And then Adam, I'm going to come to you. Is this the one about the slamming Biden, and then the other one being what Good Morning America had to say?
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
You have to keep NATO strong. You have to keep it relevant. But the biggest thing we have to worry about right now is what's going on right now. I think the rest is going to take care of itself. I don't see this happening. This was a fluke. This was something that if we had a competent president, it would not have happened. The man was grossly incompetent. All you have to do is take a look at he signs by Autopen. Who was signing all this stuff by Autopen? Who would think you signed important documents by Autopen? You know, these are major documents you're signing. You're proud to sign them. You have your signature on something. In 300 years, they say, oh, look, can you imagine? Everything was signed by Autopen, almost everything. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. So should have never happened.
Okay, so that's that part. This next one here, watch this one.
The president also claimed overnight that the pardons issued by former President Biden are void for the January 6th committee members, but the pardon power in the Constitution for the president is absolute.
It is, and by the way, there's no indication that President Biden signed these with an Autopen. That's what President Trump is arguing, that these were signed with an Autopen and therefore they're not valid. We don't know that they were signed with an Autopen, but even if they were, it's unclear that that would be an issue. In fact, President Bush back in 2005, the White House did a study on this and determined that even orders signed with an Autopen are valid orders. That proposition's never been tested in court. I guess the big question here, though, George, is does this imply that that President Trump wants to actually prosecute members of the January 6th committee?
Hopefully. They did something illegal, which it looks like they did.
So, you know, we always have a conversation about what hill you're willing to die on, right? I'm pretty sure I know what yours is. I know what yours is. I know what yours is. For me, this is not something I'm willing to die on. For me. I'd actually be very interested in knowing if our audience truly cares about this. What's my point? Trump did not campaign on this type of thing. Trump, in his first 60 days in office, has done so much. Shutting down the border, illegal immigration, tariffs, trade wars, mass deportations, executive orders, getting out of unfair trade deals, drill baby drill, Doge, everything that's going on. We're seeing what's going on in the markets. Inflation's creeping up. Stock market's going down. Crypto's going down again. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, the Houthis, and we're going to throw in a little bit of this Autopen. I get why someone like Vinny, I think it was 10% of our audience.
11.5, but whatever.
I'm rounding down. Yeah. This was something they cared about. This is not something I care about. What I want to understand is, do you think Trump's base genuinely wants him to focus on this? Because I'm the type of person that's like, who the hell's even thinking of Sleepy Joe Biden at this point?
Okay,
and we also know one thing,
focusing on
that
this.
Trump
wait a minute.
loves his own signature. That's why he's
but here's the thing. What do you mean by focusing on this?
Well,
so
we had
100
stories we can talk about today. We're starting with this.
Why do you think the Barry Weiss clip in D.C. during January 20th, when she sat down with Speaker Johnson, why do you think that clip was all over the place?
What was the
Why
clip?
do you think tens of millions of Americans were interested in what happened and what Speaker Johnson said to Barry Weiss? Why do you think? Why do you think when Speaker Johnson told the story when he said he asked President Biden asked Kamala, Hakeem Jeffries, and Schumer to step outside, and he says, Mr. President, you signed this. He says, I never signed this. I never agreed to this. He says, no, you signed this. Why do you think tens of millions of people were interested in that clip?
Good point.
Do you
because
think
it sort of proved the point that maybe Joe Biden.
Bingo.
Maybe.
That's right.
But are we really breaking news
no,
here
no,
that we
it's not-
think Joe
it's not.
Biden was competent? We know that.
I get it. Yeah. Listen, I understand you like being dramatic, okay? But hear me out here.
okay.
Hear me out here.
I'll be very chill.
No, I don't mind. Listen, I've been with you you've been here for a while. So, but this is the question. That ought to give, and by the way, as a president or a leader of a company, this is what you do. Your job, and this is what Trump does very well. Here's what Trump does. Hey, guess what, guys? What? And he uses keywords. May, if, what if? Let's look into it. And then he throws it out there to the people, okay? And he just sees, okay, guess what happened to that story?
Use that napkin.
Nobody cared about that story, right?
Yep.
And it just kind of goes.
I understand.
Then he goes, boom, drops the next one. And then all of a sudden, boom, okay, there's something here. Why did they react the way they did? If the media reacts increasingly frustrated and scared to this, he rattled them and he keeps going.
Great point.
That's what, so he's playing that. He's not focused on this. This is just something he's playing with the opposition. That's, again, my opinion. I could be wrong and you could be right. I'm just giving you my interpretation
I would love to.
of what
Rob,
I
did
think
you
is
run a
going on
poll,
here.
Rob, or no?
But I don't know. Here's the thing, and I understand it's not hills to die. And I remember when we were talking about Joe Biden and helping Israel and helping all these other places, and there was, I think it might have been you saying that, we could walk and chew gum at the same time. This isn't, like he just said, a huge thing, but there's a line in the movie JFK that Kevin Costner says. He's playing the Attorney General Garrison. He says, "Let justice be done, though the heavens fall," which is it was a Latin legal term that basically says, meaning justice must be served no matter the consequences and no matter what the hell happens, okay? Dr. Fauci, Mr. Fauci, think about this for a second, Adam. All the lies that he did in front of Congress, all the people that are affected. I saw a video yesterday, Pat, that choked me up. It's this girl that's just laying in bed, shaking because she's vaccine injured because of people like that lied to the American people. Families ruined, military people kicked out of the freaking military, lives destroyed, and I'm just harping on just him. Yes, we want it. If he was pardoned for doing what? Like, what did they think was going to happen? He got pre-pardoned for not doing anything because why? Trump and them were going to weaponize the justice system? No, that's the type of shit that drives me crazy. And Mark Milley being a general saying that if Trump gave the order to attack, you would go behind his back and say no, that's treason. You're a general. So I think you can walk and chew gum at the same time. He has a million things going on, but appoint the right people to go. Dude, it doesn't take a genius to go, there's Joe Biden's signature. These are all the same ones. It's not him. Go to the Supreme Court and reverse this shit because we want accountability, plain and simple. That's it.
Okay, so that's that story. Again, watch this. Do you care if Joe Biden used an Autopen?
That's a horrible poll, though. What I would have asked is it in your top 3? Is it in your top 5? No offense, Rob. That's what I would like to know. Do you care? Yeah, I care. But it's not in my top 10. So that to me is inconclusive.
No, guys, you're not making any sense. We're going to move on.
That makes complete sense.
No, you're not. You just went from, is it in your top 3? Is it in your top 5? It is in your top 10. So you don't even know what question you want to ask. So
I know exactly what I want to ask.
Went from top 3 to top 5
I'm going to die on this hill right now.
Go ahead, do it.
This is not, in my opinion, in the average American's top 3, top 5, top 10.
Adam, if you had a person, say your mother, let me kind of bring this personal to you. Say you lived in a blue state, which you don't. And say you're
Florida.
Independent, libertarian, or conservative, okay? You lived in a blue state, and your mother's at a hospital somewhere, and it's during COVID. She's not doing well. She's got 2 weeks left to live. Say you have kids, her grandkids, your nephew. The hospital says, you can't come see her. She passes away without you being allowed to go see her. I guarantee you that would be in your top 3. That's the difference.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, so but you are not the average person. You're a guy that doesn't have a car. You're not the average American.
What the hell does that have to do with this
Because you're such an
situation?
anomaly. You're not the average person.
That's true. But
You are not the average person. The average person went through a lot of these pain. They went through this. They fought on this. By the way, remember, you just became a supporter. You were not in 2020. 2020, you voted for Biden. The people that are pissed off about this is because they voted for Trump in 2020 and saw what happened. You did not. You just came through here in the last couple of years. Not even couple of years, 18 months. But think about
So did Elon Musk. So did Joe Rogan.
What's
your point? They can't support the president, but also not support this?
Nobody is saying that. But there's, like, for example, do you care, is the transgender stuff in your top 3?
I mean, that woke shit, I ain't playing that game.
But is
so
that
yes.
in your top 3?
Transgender, no. But a man pretending he's a woman?
Let me ask you.
Yes.
Do you think transgender is in Elon Musk's top 3?
I think it is.
Why?
Because it's part of the
That's
woke
the
mind virus.
kid.
And one of his kids went tranny.
Your positioning is an insult to the audience for what they're going through.
I don't think it's an insult.
Everybody has a different thing they're experiencing. There's a reason why this is landing the way it is with people, is because people want to find out why the hell a Fauci got immunity. And immunity for what? You didn't commit any crime yet. Why are they giving you immunity?
Bingo.
Is it because of a future crime? Is it born? What is that movie?
Minority Report.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
What is it? Let's find out about it. That's all people are saying. So, by the way, we could go back to Tom's first thought when he said, if this goes to the Supreme Court and this goes 5-4, done. This is bad news if it goes that route. I hope it does. And if it doesn't, it is what it is. It means there wasn't much interest in it, but I hope President Trump and his camp takes it to that levels. Okay, next one. Rob, I got a clip from Elon Musk sitting down with Ted Cruz. If you can go to it, Rob. Elon Musk sitting. Do you have that clip, Rob?
I don't.
Did I send it here? Oh, I have it in my notes. If you go in my notes, here, I'll just send it to you. It's all the way at the top. You have to watch this because this is very, very interesting. Very interesting when it comes down to this. Okay, so if you watch this part here with Elon Musk, folks, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, give or take. I want you to watch every word. By the way, earlier in a clip of this podcast, Ted Cruz asked him, who do you think is the smartest man in the world? And he said, Larry Ellison, he said first. Then he said Larry Page. Then he gave credit to Jeff Bezos. And he gave credit to a couple other people. And then he comes back and he says, but to be a smart human being today is going to be nothing in 10 years.
Exactly.
Okay, so it was very interesting how he put it. But I want you to watch this here. Watch this here. And then the last question he asks him about what's going to happen with AI and robots in the next 10. And the answer he gives him, Ted Cruz is flabbergasted. Watch this clip. Go for it.
In 10 years, probably AI could do anything better than a human can, cognitively. Probably almost, I think in 10 years, based on the current rate of improvement, AI will be smarter than the smartest human.
Keep watching.
There will also be a massive number of robots.
By the way, I got to ask, how come your robots look so much like the creepy robots from iRobot? Was that intentional or just...
I was hoping he was going to say, yeah, just to mess with you.
It's not meant to look like any prior robot. We'll iterate the design. A lot of the robot parts are cosmetic. You'll be able to switch out the kind of snap-on cosmetic parts of the robot to make it look like something else if you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be ultimately billions of humanoid robots. All cars will be self-driving.
In 10 years?
In 10 years, probably 90% of miles driven will be autonomous.
Huh. Wow. That fast?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. In 5 years, probably 50% of all miles driven will be autonomous.
Now, if AI will be smarter than any person, how many jobs go away because of that? And what do people do if you've got millions of people that are losing their jobs? Like that, a lot of people are understandably freaked out about that.
Well, goods and services will become as close to free. So it's not as though people will be wanting in terms of goods and services.
So why is that? Why are goods and services free in an AI world or close to free?
Well, you have, I don't know, call it tens of billions of robots. They will make you anything or provide any service you want for basically next to nothing. It's not that people will have a lower standard of living. They'll have actually a much higher standard of living. The challenge will be fulfillment? How do you derive fulfillment and meaning in life?
Keep watching.
Is Skynet real? Like you get the apocalyptic visions of AI. How real is the prospect of killer robots annihilating humanity?
Watch this.
20% likely. Maybe
Wow.
10%.
On what time frame?
5 to 10 years.
So soon, like you see a world where that's possible.
Yeah, but I mean, you could look at it like the glass is 80, 90% full, meaning like 80% likely will have extreme prosperity for all.
Let me explain something to you. That's scary as hell. That 20, because he wanted to say 20, maybe a little bit more. 20% chance that these things are going to go, you don't tell me what to do, and then we're just, that's it. Man, you better start getting some cool-ass robots in your life, like protected robots.
Think about it this way. If facts are what you care about, who can do a better debate than ChatGPT versus Grok?
No, that's what
Facts is what you care about.
That's that.
And you just want it, no personality,
Zero.
no emotion, no being wrong, none of that stuff. What other debate would you want to see about Grok versus Chat? What if there's a podcast that AI is able to create that ChatGPT debates Grok, and it's playing 24/7?
I would watch it.
You would ask a video, and they debate each other on the topic.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's sick.
That's sick. That's what's coming soon. And by the way, the average and a regular person can take this idea right now and do it. Any topic you throw, you look at both of them. Any topic, you throw out both of them, see what they say. Meaning, that's the direction you're going with debates, conversations, robots. They're going to be able to build robots that can dunk from half court. What is that going to mean?
Yeah.
When you go to a game. Tom, what are your thoughts about what Musk said here?
Well, he's talking about the progression. And, excuse me. And so when you take a look at the, there's a couple laws out there. There's Moore's Law, and it's basically that the power of a semiconductor keeps doubling and that the power of the network keeps doubling. Well, when you look at that, what happens is you come to a logical end here. And all he's doing is saying, hey, guess what? Autonomous cars, 5 years, 50% of all miles driven will be autonomous. 90% of all miles driven in 10 years will be autonomous. That's just a natural progression of autonomous cars. They're more fuel efficient. You have all the reasons to do it. Will that mean that you can't have a sports car from the 60s in your garage? No, you still have that. But we're talking about total miles, driven and commute and everything. That's just extrapolation. Where the extrapolation gets a little scary for people is the question of we have malware that gets wrapped in a bot and then sent off to cause havoc with networks and go steal people's ID and do things like that. Now you take that element, now put that on robots. What if there's bad people making robots? And the difference between bots and robots are physical and they can do assembly and stuff, and bots are usually things that will operate on the internet. And so it gets a little nerve-wracking when you go to the last one there to say, well, could the bad person have robots, physical robots, doing bad things the same way bad people are using malware and bots right now to run around the internet and do bad things? And the answer is yes. Well, guess what? Shortly after Orville and Wilbur, got us into the air, the Wright brothers, somebody said, if we have too many planes in the air, there needs to be somebody guiding them. There needs to be somebody controlling them. And that's where you put in, laws and controls and the FAA to control planes so that they're orderly. So I think you're also going to see the controlling side of it.
Yeah, I took away a couple of things, Pat. Well, first of all, the first thing that popped in my head is the generation that's now, because 10 years is going to come like this. What were we talking about? In 15
years,
we're going to be 65.
You're going to be 80 years old,
yeah.
Vinny.
So, it hit me just for like my nieces and my nephews and Pat's kids and Rob's kids. Like, they better be studying in fields that these robots can't take their jobs. That's the first thing that popped in my head. Figure out because even when you said, Pat, even podcasting, you could put two robots and just have them go at it and have the conclusion afterwards. But then my mind, when he said billions of these robots, and we're already seeing the robots that guys are dating. You saw the virtual, have you seen those things?
Did you get one yet?
Not yet. It's on back order. But listen, what I'm saying is these people are going to be dating Adam, and then can you imagine the fighting and the cops being called to the house and the robot's like, he hit me. And it's like, no, I didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like robots fighting. And
Watch the camera.
And then the jury of your peers, if there's 1 billion robots, are lawyers going to be like, it's the possibilities are endless, and it's exciting, but it's scary as hell at the same time.
Let me tell you something. Based on what Elon Musk just said about basically killer robots, and we're all going to basically be done in the next 20 years or so, I kind of understand why people are scared of hell of Elon Musk and are starting to hate Musk. You know, all the liberals loved him when he was doing the green energy thing. He was a hero to them. All of a sudden, he gets on the Trump train. They hate the guy. All he's doing is identifying waste, fraud, and abuse that Bernie Sanders was railing about for years. And then the Neuralink. People are like, so you're going to be putting chips in people's head, then they can just become human computers? It's very scary. I remember when the internet first popped up in like the mid-90s, and I literally asked my buddy, I was like, look, dude, what's the difference between the internet and email? And he's like, you know, he had to literally explain it to me because it was all new to me.
Mind-boggling, of course.
All new to me. Social media, all right, I get it, kind of. All right, did with that. Crypto shows up. We were like, I don't even know what a Bitcoin is or a blockchain or a bitty bop. Got no clue what's going on. Now this.
Scary.
AI. Imagine an old lady. It's like, my robot.
Yeah,
like,
it's over.
It's unbelievable. But what I want to understand from you, Pat, is what are you telling 10-year-olds to do now, 12-year-olds to do now, 18-year-olds to do now? Because for a lot of men out there, college is defunct. Get into trades, learn to be a plumber, HVAC technician, whatever.
That works.
Work with your hands. I don't think robots are going to be doing that. Uber drivers are going to be out the door. UBI, Andrew Yin Yang in this thing. The amount people might be collecting checks. But what do you do if you're a teenager or a 5-year-old or 10-year-old? What does that future look like in your estimation?
Well, first of all, just think about it this way. Tom, question for you. We are out of town. Okay. Dylan was at an academy for soccer, and we're out of town. We're staying at this place. And you know, one night we're playing Gin Rami. It's 9:30 at night. Tom has this famous alarm going off that he says he controls.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps going off. And the phone is about to blow up at this point because it's getting pissed off at Tom saying, move, get the hell out of the way, go to your room.
Ludicrous.
They all disappear, okay? They go sit there and they start watching Formula One, the practice race. It's Friday night, right? And it is such a beautiful thing when you see the Ellsworths, how much they love Formula One. As a family, you can ask Brooke or Bailey anything about Formula One. They're going to give you a very educated answer because the father is a big Formula One guy. So, Tom, go to 2040, and Formula One drivers are robots. Are you interested?
Nope.
Are you interested?
Nope.
Tell me why.
Well, because, you know, human achievement is possible because of the human, you know, putting together skill and performing under pressure and maximizing their skills. And, you know, the missed free throw with 1 second to go in a basketball game is exciting. And it's what a word, we put words on it. He's a gamer. He's clutch. And we look at all those things, and it's the same in Formula One. It's like, who has the focus, drive, intensity, and confidence to keep it on the track and make that pass and win? And who's there? I don't want to watch robots running near perfect laps. I want to watch the human condition.
Why, though? Why? Why is that such a big deal? That
because I'm human.
Exactly. But why else, though? Why else? You know, because human beings.
It's like reality programming. How do I know they're not socialists letting every robot win once?
What's the record for the mile, Rob? What's the fastest a mile was ever ran? I know Roger Bannister was the first.
Under 3?
Is it 347? I don't know what the hell it is. 1 mile.
1 mile, 325.
No, 1 mile.
No, we're into the 340s.
343. 343.
That's
okay. I was 4 seconds off. Okay. You know how fast that is? That's very fast.
By the way,
right?
El Giroux, this is 24 years ago. He is freaking the, you know, Michael Jordan of track, El Giroux, and he did that 25 years ago.
Okay,
everybody knows El Giroux is the Michael Jordan of track.
Obviously.
So anyway,
so you think about 343. Now let me ask you a question. Tomorrow, a story breaks that a robot ran a mile in 49 seconds.
I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care.
That's the point.
It's a machine.
So meaning, where I'm going with this is, everything Elon is saying is right. about the fact that we could be going in a direction that can happen. And robots, if they chose to, whoever has control of all the robots, they can light it up and they can destroy your life. I do believe that, and I do believe he's the one to watch the next 30 years, not anybody else. I think he's the one to watch the next 30 years. Good, bad, ugly, whatever you want to call it. Let me finish my thought.
Sure.
So good, bad, ugly, no matter, he's the one to watch. Having said that, if I ask right now who has the most facts, no one cares.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares. I was told this pastor that knows the Bible verbatim. You tell him whatever verse, he knows every word in the Bible. He's memorized it all. I went to his church. There was 80 people at the church.
No passion, right?
He's been there for 20 years. He has all the facts. But then you go and you see somebody that's telling a story that you're hearing about what they had to overcome, the pain of being a human being. Look, running a business is very hard. There was a clip about Dana White with people leaving the business and talking trash about Dana. Then I was like, yeah, you can say all you want. Go try to run a good business, see how hard it is. Go ahead, go. I want to be a business owner because I want to control my hours. Yeah. Go run a business, see how hard it is. Marriage is hard. Raising kids, hard. Taking care of your health is hard. Being a human is hard. There's nothing hard about being a robot. Somebody made you, and they can add additional chips to you, and you can go out there and get better. Rob, can you do me a favor, Rob, before you go to this, just to tell you how much he makes sense with what he's talking about. Rob, I have a clip here on one of the stories, Rob, if you can go to it. It's the clip on the last one, point number 13 of my notes. I'll just text it to you. That says price of a computer, just to kind of put things in perspective to see how far we've come along. Okay, I just sent it to you. This is a clip from 1989. How long ago is 1989? 36 years ago.
36 years.
Tom, you're going to love this clip because in 89, I mean, you're IBM, you're in the space. I guarantee you Tom's going to be able to explain every one of these computers to you here in a minute. Watch this. This is 89. Price of computers. They're presenting this, Rob. If you can raise the volume and zoom in a little bit. Okay, go for it.
Real quick, what's the prices here on these three machines we've seen, Keith?
This one's list price at $49.99. This one goes for $95 or 11 grand.
Okay.
$95,000 on the drive.
$95,000
without modem, 2 megabytes, 40 megabyte hard disk, and $84.99.
This is equivalent to an IBM AT. This is a 12 megahertz 286. It's got a 287 socket. It's got a 20 megabyte hard drive, a 3.5-inch floppy. This is an EGA compatible screen. It's got 16 grayscales. So on the back here, you've got all your standard ports. There's external video for an EGA monitor, 2 serial ports. It's also got a space here for a modem, which would be this kind of modem here.
In addition to the desktop features like removable keyboard and all the ports and full complement of memory, we have a tremendously viewable fluorescent screen here. And if you notice, I'm running Microsoft Windows and Excel here, and the spotting of the cursor is something that does move quite well across the screen.
Real quick, what's
Tom, you see that. Okay, by the way, just so you know.
That was Tom.
This iPhone has 1 terabyte. He says that computer has 2 megabytes.
2 megabytes.
20 megabyte hard drive. Hey, Rob, do me a favor. Wow. Do $11,000 1989 today.
$25,000. They did it in the story on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it is in a terabyte. Watch this. Terabyte. Yeah, look at that. $28,000, right? Oof. Do you know how many megabytes are in a terabyte? Vinny.
How many? Say it again?
He said that thing has 2 megabytes. That big machine had 2 megabytes. This has 1,048,000 megabytes.
What?
So think about from fitting it in that machine to this. So for us to sit here and think about what is going to happen with technology come 5-10 years from now at the pace that we have today, it's going to be crazy. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, you're going to want to watch people that you relate to see their flaws, their mistakes, there's a level of attractiveness in people's flaws. There's a level of attractiveness in people's, what's the word I'm looking for? Vulnerabilities, insecurities, in their
comeback.
In their comeback, but in their, like, you watch them, you're like, man, he has a weakness.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, when you watch Michael after the first championship he won when he came back after his father died, And you
Crying.
watch that video, and the guy's like, "Get out,
Yeah, leave him
get
alone.
out," and he's crying like a little boy.
Yeah.
because he misses his dad.
Yep.
You're never gonna get emotional with a robot.
Yep.
So to me, the only right there, that's the clip. I don't know, Rob, if you can. He's crying so bad, he's shaking, crying so bad. He ran out so quickly because all he's thinking about is his dad. Bro, he misses his dad. You think a robot's gonna miss his dad?
No.
You think that but the part that we have to be thinking about, and I'll give the answer for you as well, is whoever controls the most robots, man, they are a force to be reckoned with. They can do whatever they want, and they can look at you, and they can choose to destroy anyone's life without ever getting caught. They can destroy your life without it ever being a crime. Did you understand what I just
100%.
said? They can destroy your life without it ever being a crime, ever being a crime. They can hire a robot to program to come and kill anybody, and then when they do,
glitch.
You can take the chip out, and that thing is gone, and nobody can find out. Why did the robot walk up in the middle of the street and go to that place and just hit him in the face and kill him? Why
Glitch.
did
It was a glitch. Whatever.
Nobody
Yeah.
goes to jail.
Nope.
So there is no 1980s, the mob, where guys are going to jail for murders they did. We're going to go into this era, and you're going to see people that are going to want to live in certain communities, okay? Communities are going to matter. Security is going to matter. It's going to be a very different life. So it doesn't seem like out of the, So yes, getting involved in technology, getting involved in AI,
That's scary.
encouraging your kids to have certain jobs and careers that there's a form of entertainment, there's a form of a way that people are going to be admiring human beings. So it's either super technical skills that has to do with tech and engineering, or it's something that has to do with personality that's attractive that people are going to want to be, because that's your insurance policy. Man, but intelligence, like brain smarts, the value of having brain smarts today is going lower and lower and lower.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just to be able to manage the AI and manage the robots. If you can do that, you're ahead of the game. Okay, let's go to the next story here. Rob, can you go to the Bill Maher Don Lemon clip? Let's go to the Bill Maher Don Lemon clip. This is Bill Maher and Don Lemon together. He's on a podcast, and he is talking about African Americans who are MAGA. And I like what Bill said at the end. I actually like what Bill said at the end to Don Lemon. Go ahead and play this clip. Go for it.
It's the same thing that when I see not all black Republicans, but I see a black MAGA person who is carrying Donald Trump's water and they know that he's lying. It is the shortest line to the front. Because if you're black and you're whatever, you're just in line with a bunch of other Democrats that are doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you become a black MAGA person, it's like, whoa, let's book this person, let's put him on television.
So you don't think you can be a sincere black MAGA person?
I just said, I don't think that, I just said, I think there can be sincere Republicans.
But you can't be a sincere black Republican?
I don't think that you can be a rational MAGA, be black and be a rational MAGA person. I think you can be black and be a Republican.
I think they would find that very insulting.
Well, I mean, the truth is often insulting.
Such a freaking...
But by the way, there's a word for that, what he just said. And it starts with the letter R, ends with the letter T. I think there's a word for that. I can't get the words in the middle of it.
Is the second letter an A or an E? Because I might go E.
Yeah. It's an R-A-C-I. How does this go?
Rackist?
I don't know what it's called. But anyway, so Tom, what do you think about this?
I'm going
what do you think about Don Lemon, what he's saying about Bill?
Well,
about black MAGA.
Don Lemon now into chapter 3 of Damn It, I'm Relevant tour. You should get T-shirts. Is basically saying some really outrageous things because he's off the leash. He's not controlled by a producer. He's not controlled by CNN, and he's out there. And at times he'll say something that sounds halfway rational, meds on, and then he says things like this, which I think are really offensive. You know, if you were Hispanic or white or whatever, and you had lost your job in media and you're going around saying somewhat outlandish things, getting on podcasts, you'd be pilloried for this stuff. Instead, he's allowed to say it. And I think it's really insulting. He's basically, projecting intent on a class of people. Oh, if they feel this way, then this. That's terrible. Those people, first of all, They don't speak as a group. They speak as individuals. And as individuals, they may be of a similar mindset on certain things. But to me, it's just he's taking a race of people and saying, black MAGA, that means this, and drawing a conclusion and laying it out. If anybody else did this, except this struggling former talking head who's seeking, trying to find, relevance. I'd love to actually, and I'll tell you something. I'd love to sit down and talk to him about it. I'd love to sit down. Don, what are you doing? How do you go from A to B? Where does the career go? Where does this go? Because these things sound crazy, Don. And I wish he would sit down with somebody rational and actually have that conversation. Because what I see here, objectively, I think it's kind of offensive.
Adam.
I mean, Don, just keep doing you, buddy. This is working out real well for you. The inability to actually just understand how people are thinking. So, what, black people can't? When you're thinking MAGA, he's just so caught up. He has TDS. He's just thinking MAGA, racist, red hat. It stands for Make America Great Again. America first. You want to shut down the border. You want a great economy. You want people to be held accountable. You don't think men should be in women's sports. You want to find waste, fraud, and abuse. You believe in Doge. You don't think that little kids should be chopping off their limbs in order to transition. You don't have to be any particular color, any particular race, any particular religion to believe in those things. So the fact that he still thinks that this is how a black person should think just shows that he's still playing the identity politics game. No wonder that the Democratic Party's approval is at literally an all-time low. Literally. I don't know if we have those.
No, because of people like it. Because people like
they're
this.
not willing to say, maybe I should go back to the drawing board. Maybe I should think a little bit differently. Maybe Trump and the Republicans have won the popular vote for the first time in 20 years. How did Trump win every single swing state? We saw what Stephen A. Smith did when he basically lectured and informed Joy Behar, the fake Bette Midler, on The View when she said, why is it a mandate? He's like, I'm going to tell you why it's a mandate. They have Stockholm Syndrome, and I don't know. I don't see him coming out of it anytime soon.
Okay, so watch this. So this is Don Lemon 2013, okay? He's explaining 5 ways to fix our community. This is Don Lemon 2013, 13 years ago. Keep in mind, CNN hired him, I believe in 06, 05, something like that. It's late 2000s, mid-2000s when CNN hired him, right? Watch how he explains about talking to black people on how to clean up your act. This is Don Lemon. Go ahead, Rob.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Some people, a lot of them black, gave me flack for saying that recently on the Wendy Williams
Sounds
show.
like a MAGA guy.
If you're sagging, it means I think it's your self-esteem is sagging and who you are as a person. It's sagging. Young people need to be taught respect, and there are rules.
Wow. Don,
Sagging
what a radical.
pants, whether it's Justin Bieber or no-name Derek around the way, walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex.
Which he knows
the one
about.
with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word.
For our generation, what we did was we took the word and we took the power out of that word.
We took this word and we made it into poetry.
I understand poetic license, but consider this. I hosted a special on the N-word, suggesting that black people stop using it, and that entertainers stop deluding yourselves or themselves and others that you're somehow taking the word back. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the master intended, acting like a nigger? Whoa. A lot of African Americans took offense to that too, and I wondered if I gave the right advice. I really did. But confirmation came the very next day on my way home when I exited the subway on 125th Street in Harlem. This little kid in a school uniform, no older than 7 years old, he was crying his eyes out as he walked down the sidewalk with his mother. I'm going to be honest here. She turned to him and she said, "I'm sick of you. You act like an old-ass man. Stop all that crying, nigger." Is that taking the word back? Think about that. Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when they're going
So you can pause it right there. By the way, you can watch this whole thing. It's phenomenal, okay? What happened to him? It's called working at a place for as long as you did until all of a sudden you're thinking everything they're saying is right, and it's not. Rob, can you show the clip of CNN showing how low the Democratic approval rating is, the lowest since CNN's been measuring it for 30 years? This is what Adam was talking about earlier. If you can find that clip, Rob, watch this, folks. This is CNN.
I can't believe it.
Reporting on Democrats. So it doesn't get, you can't, a Democrat can't come and question this because it's CNN reporting it. This is their channel that they go to that's at all the airports. Go for it, Rob.
Inside Politics Sunday, I'm Manu Raju. First up this morning, a brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. That's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever recorded for Democrats in CNN polling going back more than 30 years. As you can see, the party's numbers dropping a staggering 20 points in just 4 years. The CNN SRSR's poll also found 57% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters are more interested in seeing their party leaders stop the GOP agenda, compared to 42% who are more interested in cutting bipartisan.
What's really interesting here is that even with core Democrats, from the moment that Biden was inaugurated in 2021 to now, core Dems, they've dropped 20 points. So the core Dems are the ones that are not Bernie, but not mid. They are core liberals. They've dropped 20% in their own approval rating of their own party and what it used to stand for. And what has happened in this fight to find relevance, all you've done is gone to feelings and enabled positions. You didn't have facts. You didn't have, let me back up one thing. Sometimes they had facts. In the Green New Deal, they talked about let's reduce CO2 and things like that. So I didn't agree with the Green New Deal at all. I thought it was wasteful. But at least they had some level of, hey, CO2, we want to move from here to here. And they had some numbers, some things that they wanted to run with. But when you run on these feelings and enablement and take power away from parents and kids and the woke agenda, everybody sits back and all of a sudden, guess what? We hear the front door open, Dad's home, and his name is Common Sense. And everyone goes, hey, Dad's home. And he's like, what the hell is this? And that's what's happened to the Democrat Party. People have looked at it. Look at the Dems that didn't vote for that basket of nothing during the election. Look at the ones that didn't vote. We've talked about them. I won't take time talking about here, about all the groups and all the shifts and all the counties and everything. But why did they move? They moved toward facts and reason and away from feelings and enablement and frankly, made up positions.
Yeah.
And now they look at the Democrat Party and they're like, America, remember, this is the America poll, America-wide, you're sitting there at 29%, lowest ever. Guess what? Common sense came home.
I'm obviously, Tom, great point. I'm not surprised by this. It was only a matter of time. We keep saying, we told you so. It's only, bad policies, bad decisions. This is the type of stuff that happens. But now my thing is, watch the adjustment. Watch what now they have to do because they're playing this game. Democrats are not going to go away. Okay, they're going to have to adjust. But I want everybody out there to know, do not be fooled by these people, okay? The Jasmine Crockett's with one of her eyes she has an east-west eye. One of them's going crazy. AOC, Gavin Newsom being on a podcast, I tell people, and I'm happy. Let Charlie Kirk go on there, everybody. Don't let them fool you because now they're trying to make themselves seem as if they're for the people and everything. Once they're in, they're going to do the same shit that they've been doing this entire time, okay? So, we aren't going to be, because think about it, we're not going to be in charge forever. This movement, we're hope to God, it's not going to be there forever. These people, there's going to be a change. There's going to be a flip. Do not be fooled by them coming in because they're going to go back to the same policies. And that's what scares me, Tom, is everything that Trump's doing, everything with the prisoners, everything with the border, everything with the economy, everything with tariffs and everything. God forbid in 3 years, 4 years, we lose, okay? And a Gavin Newsom comes in, what's going to happen? Everything is going to flip back the other way. everything. So do not be fooled by these people.
By the way, watch this. So while we're talking about this, and Don Lemon is saying what he's saying about boys, okay, that's controversial. Anthony Mackie in this video may seem like a MAGA. He probably is not a MAGA person.
Definitely not.
But if you watch this video here, look what he says about raising boys. And folks in Hollywood and many feminists were furious with this clip here. Rob, go ahead and play this clip.
In the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, motherfucker jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. Like you see these, and you're like, could bust your ass. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You go to Europe. Tight ass pants. Yeah, tight ass pants. Motherfucker, good, boy, you better lotion your ankle. Like, you feel it when you go to Europe. Even when you, like, I was just in Kenya and I was walking around, I'm like, yeah. Dude was like, you ain't from here. Like, nah. Like, yeah, I could tell. I know you can. I could tell I ain't from here. You know what I mean? It's just that American male masculinity is something I think is very important for boys. Because now our little boys are afraid to fail, so they don't try. In the past 20 years,
pause it right
so
there.
you don't try. Phenomenal. What a line!
I love this. Can I go in on this for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
So. Anthony Mackie, respect to you, bro. And by the way, do you think that he voted for Obama in 2008?
Probably
You
so.
bet he did.
Yep.
Do you think he voted for Trump in 2024?
I don't think so.
I think he did. I think he did. But it just shows how far, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, whatever it is, men have fallen away from the Democratic Party. So there's a couple things I want to unpack. Did you ever see him talk about when he make daddy a sandwich? Hold on, Rob, before you play that. Don Lemon. By the way, Rob, I sent you a couple pictures. In 2016-ish, I had the opportunity to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I met everybody. Do you have any of those pics, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to have to grab them. Give me a second.
I met Wolf Blitzer, Brett Baer. I met all the different ladies from CNN, Pam Brown, and I met Don Lemon. And I had great conversations with all these people. It was a great opportunity. And Trump had just won. And you saw how possessed they were. And that seeps into things. But, you know, Pat wrote a book. You guys might have heard of it. It's called Your Next 5 Moves. Rule number 1 is know yourself, right? Who do you want to be? Rule number 2 is what? The ability to reason. Master the ability to reason. Don Lemon's not doing that. He doesn't have the ability to reason right now. Here's Don Lemon. Do you have any of those other pictures?
Beautiful couple.
What a nice couple.
No, he paid for dinner, so that was nice.
Oh,
Thank you,
cool.
bro. I love how I
Look
sent
at that
Rob.
beard, Adam.
I sent Rob 5 pictures. This is the one he pulled up. Thanks, bro.
Looks like a very loving weekend.
Send them before the show next time.
It's true.
Nice.
Thank you, Rob.
This
Thanks,
was
Rob.
This was the year that
he was in the bathroom.
Hassan Minaj was like, I do not see Steve Bannon. I not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. Not see
Hassan Minaj?
Steve Bannon.
What a
Rob,
horrible
you can pull
person.
up the other pictures at any point, guy. But Anthony Mackie went famous. He went viral about the "Make Daddy a Sandwich" clip. Did you hear that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I don't know if we can play that real quick. But when a
Play
man
it,
is
Rob. It's
doing
actually
all
a very
these
good
things,
clip.
go ahead.
Play the clip.
Sandwich, you make daddy a sandwich. Most of the time. No. Let me ask you this. Well, okay, let me ask you this. If me and you out and somebody say something slick to you,
You punch him in the face.
you want me to smack him in his mouth, right?
That's right.
So if I take you on a date and I say, look, baby, we gonna go Dutch.
No.
Exactly. If we walking up to the car and I don't open your car door, what do you say?
Open the door.
You better believe it.
Yeah, no, I am with you. I think.
So you make Daddy
So
a
you
sandwich.
make Daddy
If
a
you want the
sandwich.
Oh, by the way,
Exactly.
he did not support Donald Trump in 2016, so I don't know if it's changed or not.
Well-
Just throwing that out there.
Well, a lot of people didn't support Trump in 16, but a lot of people did in 2024. By the way, you ever spent a lot of time in Europe? I know you have.
No.
You know,
I love America.
my first wife, she was British. So I'd spend time in London. We'd go to Paris. We'd go to Italy. He's absolutely right about the difference between American John Wayne type thing versus maybe
croissant.
maybe
Croissant.
I love the French. Do you love French women?
Je m'appelle Vincent.
But did you see what Theo Vaughn had to say about the French?
No.
Go ahead, play this clip, please.
You saw this?
I like the French, I'll be honest with you. If you put 70 French people in front of me, I don't like them. They just, the way they're like, no, yeah. It sounds like, you just want to just pat them on the fucking back, boy. I just want to spray paint my hand red, white, and blue and pat them bitches on the back and get the fucking truth out of them. What are you trying to say? It sounds like Japanese, but they fucking got they're nasaled out or something. It sounds like somebody hit a bunch of cotton in a Japanese dude.
Feels so dumb.
Oh, dude. You just can't get. It sounds like somebody just ejacking out into just somebody just got stuck ejaculating.
Okay. All right, maybe we can cut it off now,
Oh,
Rob.
he is so
But
stupid.
it's amazing. But Anthony Mackie, respect to you. Oh, by the way, here's some of the other people I was with. Brett Baer.
He's lost weight.
He looks great now. He's one of the probably most respected journalists out there.
Yeah.
Do you have any other, Rob? Wolf Blitzer. I don't. At the time, he was respected.
Adam, grow the
CNN,
beard back. Bring the beard back.
And then the lovely ladies of CNN. You're all fake news, but you're pretty damn attractive, especially the one in the white. Anyway.
Okay, all right. Did you get that out of your system, Rob? Thank you for
Rob, thank you for last
doing
minute.
Yeah. He says, Bobby Lee says, "Hey, Theo, act like you're my daddy." Oh, Bobby.
Did you see the clip? Did you see the clip when he started talking about like Trump and China and the trade wars? He's like, man, so as a, how do you feel?
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm Korean.
He's like, do you think I'm Chinese? He's like, I've known you for 20 years. He's like, honestly, man, I don't know what you are, buddy. You have that clip?
No, it's okay. Which is this the Bobby? Yes. I listen to this all the time.
I'm your dad. I'm your son.
Okay.
Hey, Dad.
Bobby. Sorry, just do it like me.
I don't know. You don't have to have an Asian accent.
Yes, you do.
No. You're you.
All right, Rob, I can watch that on repeat over and over and over. All right, let's go to this next clip here. So, story comes out from Media Matters. Media Matters is not happy with what happened in 2024. And Media Matters is forced to write an article titled, "The Right Dominates the Online Media Ecosystem, Seeping into Sports, Comedy, and Other Supposedly Non-Political Spaces." Okay, notice the key word was what? Supposedly. Other political spaces. So let's read this article, see what Media Matters has to say about it. Media Matters study of 320 online shows found that right-leaning ones like Joe Rogan, with 39.9 million followers, dominates with 480 million total followers across platforms, nearly 5 times left-leaning shows, holding 82% of the 584 million. UFC's Dana White praised their election role, saying, "I want to thank the boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' with the Boys, and a mighty and powerful Joe Rogan has 9 out of the top 10, including Ben Shapiro's 25 million lean right." The right-leaning show seep into non-political spaces with 72% of the 111 shows like comedy, Joe Rogan, Full Sun Podcast, pushing ideological content despite 42% of the 191 right-leaning shows being news-focused. Bloomberg's analytics of YouTubers like Patrick Bet-David. Above all, the broadcasters described American men as victims of a Democratic campaign to strip them from their power, while Pew noted 31% trust podcasts over traditional news, up from 2016. So it's interesting, Rob, if you can go to the 2 charts. So watch this. If you zoom this in a little bit, and you'll see who they have there. You got Charlie Kirk there. You got Brandon Tatum. You got Graham Allen, Full Send Podcast, Glenn Beck, Nick, who is that? I can't see their last name. What is the last name? Freitas?
Nick, where?
Nick Freitas. Then you got Aiden Ross, Ben Shapiro. You got Young Turks, 12 Million, Midas Touch, Megan Kelly. Who is that? Is that us on the bottom left?
Patrick David, no, that guy.
10 points. Rob, do we know what they're calculating on the count? Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Russell Brand, Dan Bongino. By the way, the guy stopped this whole thing just to go out there and serve his country. Can you imagine what a honorable thing that is to do? Tucker Carlson. You got Judicial Watch, Pierce Morgan, Phil McGraw, Candace Owens, Lex Friedman, Dinesh D'Souza. Go a little bit higher to see who's on the top. Who's up there? Jordan Peterson, Stephen Crowder, Theo Vaughn, Matt Walsh. Okay, Impulsive. And then if you go to the one with topics, this is very interesting. If you can go to the next one that has to do with topics. There's another one that keep going. You'll see it. Keep going a little bit more. It's the next one right there. So right-leaning, left-leaning shows by ideological, non-political categories, okay? So blue, left-leaning shows, sports culture 16.2, comedy 8.1, entertainment 1.8, technology 0.9, education 0.9. Okay, then you have red, gaming 1.8, sports 2.7, business 2.7, technology, wellness, entertainment 6.3, religion and spirituality 9.9, comedy 13.5, societal and cultural 22%. Tom, why do you think this is happening?
Well, I feel like I'm watching, and I was just trying to look it up. I feel like I'm watching a replay now in the podcast space of what the liberals were saying about talk radio in the 80s and 90s. We don't understand. This Rush Limbaugh guy has gone bonkers. You know, this Hugh Hewitt guy in Southern California has gone bonkers. You saw the guys who were out there, and there was a guy that was out there 80s and 90s in L.A., Tom Likas, was trying to be the liberal voice, but then he became a male pig. We started talking about how to get laid and all these things like this.
He was the original red pill guy. He's one of them, for sure.
That's right. But guess what? He wasn't talking about political things as much as all of a sudden the women were like, wait. You're not going to the women's side of this. So I feel like what we just saw there is showing. And guess what happened? They looked at it. And you know what? Rush Limbaugh was getting people riled up, talking about what the Democrats were doing to, tell me if this sounds familiar, education, the economy.
Weird.
Guess what? And all manner of things. And people like Hugh Hewitt, who wrote a bunch of books and things that came around behind him, and that led to Glenn Beck. And why did these right-wing conservative guys become so big in talk radio? Because people wanted to listen to it, and it was common sense. And I come back to that again. That's where it was. It wasn't that Rush Limbaugh was a super dynamic speaker. He was a very average speaker, but a powerful message. And that's what's happened. I feel like we're looking now, and now they're looking at it now saying, I don't understand this. All these conservative-leaning guys that have really strong voices, and now in the podcasting space, I don't understand it. Just wipe the names off the dot and go back to talk radio in the 80s and 90s. It's history repeating itself. The average citizen wants what the conservatives have to say. And if you just give it a generation and then pull back all the liberal control that they put into the media ownership, guess what happens? I don't get it. And then Fox bad, because they're the only place on the block where you could get what you want.
And he made a great point. Look at from this chart, from this polling or whatever media matters. It doesn't matter because they don't give a damn. Look at nothing about religion or spirituality. Zero. Nothing. Okay. Entertainment, we're killing it. Our comedy's up by how many more percent? Because you can't take yourself serious. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
The largest slices in the blue?
It's society and culture. And
woke!
The woke, and that's exactly it. That's why the Don Lemons and all this shit, and that's why Don flipped sides and became this type of person to bow down to these people because his masters told him to do it. But look at that. Look at how much more shit we're talking about.
So
the most important.
That's not how it is. The way you got to look at it is that's not the way to look at it. You have to look at it as their pie is a quarter, right?
Okay.
So whatever number it's shown on the top right, you have to multiply treat their quarter as 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So if you treat their quarter as 100%, their 16.2 is really 16.2 times 4.
Oh,
so it's 60.
That's a lot.
It is. So they're all about societal and culture. We're not.
Yes.
We're 22.
Yeah.
So their comedy is times 4, 32. Our comedy is 13.5. Their entertainment is times 4, say whatever, is 7%. Their technology is So we're spending more time on certain things than they are.
Which is
the
working.
education is the same. We're talking religion and spirituality. They're not.
They're not at
We're
all.
talking, we're talking
Health and wellness?
Yes. I don't know where health and
They're
wellness
at the
is
bottom,
6.3.
They're
You
not
don't
even
even see
talking-
them there.
They're not even
So, but they're
Or
all spending
business.
a lot of times on society and I have an idea here, but Adam, your thoughts?
So when was this poll run? Like how many years does it cover? Is it just 1 year? Is it a span? Do
It
we
says
know?
at the bottom, it doesn't say a time, from a study of 320 online shows with a right-leaning or left-leaning ideological bent, including 111 shows that self-identify on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So it doesn't give an actual time frame.
There goes the self-identify thing. But you know what I find interesting? I suspect 4 years from now, this pie chart will look a lot different because the center right or even right wing media outlets, podcasts, shows certainly had a massive boost under the Biden administration. My assumption is under the Trump administration, a lot more left leaning podcasts are going to find their voice. You know, we talked about that the Democratic Party's approval rating is at an all time low, and they give a certain percentage of how much they want to basically rail against the Republican agenda and the MAGA agenda. So we're going to see how this chart flips, but I believe every second of it. You know what I find the most interesting here, though? The biggest segments of both are culture and comedy. I don't see any funny shit coming out of the left these days. Jimmy Kimmel, the late night shows, Fallon a little bit, Colbert. I mean, it's genuinely sad to see the comedy that's coming out of the left.
Kimmel became painful by your
Painfully
words during the election.
Painful. I mean, Seth Meyers, and they're not changing. That's the craziest thing. Vinny, literally a professional comedian. Me, not so professional, but a comedian. Pat, I think you're going to do your first stand-up comedy one of these days. But
I'm open for Vinny.
But look at Theo Vaughn about how freaking funny he is by pushing the envelope, making fun of people, doing accents.
Bobby.
That's what coming. Bobby son. I think you showed a clip the other day
You know what
about
it is?
In Living Color, a guy doing. I think it was Damon Wayans, your boy, doing a character
Eating
called
a cheeseburger off
Handyman.
Oh, Handyman. Yeah.
Up, away.
Oh,
Oh, no,
best.
you don't.
Yeah. But you know what it is, though? If you go back to that chart, I noticed one thing. And let me tell you what it is. You know what I noticed? Valuetainment. That's what I noticed. The people on the right are valuetainers.
Yep.
They bring value, they entertain, and it's becoming a movement, period. So I'll look at somebody and say, that's a valuetainer, meaning he has valuetainment in him. Joe Rogan, valuetainment. You got Theo Vaughn. I don't know if he's valuetainment. I think he's a lot of tainment. Okay, he's just pure tainment. But every once in a while, he asks questions that makes you think. But the left, you don't see a lot of valuetainment.
Nope.
It's victim, it's unfair, it's this, it's that. So on what you're saying, the fact that you're thinking it's going to split or if it's not, let me tell you what's going on. I thought, and I'm being very honest with you, I thought under Trump, CNN, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, Lawrence, I thought they were going to blow up under Trump.
The first
because they
time
have
you're saying.
right now.
Right now.
I thought they have so much to criticize.
Yes.
Do you see what Lawrence Donald said? Here's Lawrence O'Donnell
MSNBC.
taking break. He says, I'm exhausted at day 52 of Trump administration. Rob, go ahead and play this clip. And Rob found out something the other day. Remember when we did the math of Rachel Maddow, how much they're paying her, and it's not worth it, I think, because she's got so much dirt on him that she's threatening that she's going to go out. And I thought she was only working once a day. Rob found out some stuff that maybe, that I said I was right, and then I thought I was wrong. And then Rob's like, no, you were actually right on what you were saying with the days because the way it's working out. Rob, I'll tell you here in a second. Rob, if you can play this clip here with what Lawrence O'Donnell is saying, it's very interesting. Go for it.
Well, here's the thing. This is day 52. I thought it was day 92. It turns out it's day 52, Rachel, and I'm exhausted at day 52. And so I'm going to take next week off. And I'm telling you that now because I know you don't like it when I just drift away, and I don't. But just taking next week off. Then I can come back.
Okay, Rob, what did you learn about Rachel Maddow?
So Rachel Maddow's contract, the one that she had a $30 million contract, they renegotiated it down to $25 million a year. That $25 million a year is for a once-a-week episode, with the exception of the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency, in which Rachel Maddow has contractually obligated or committed to broadcasting nightly on MSNBC. But once that 100 days is done, she goes back to $25 million a year for one night a week, an hour-long show.
Unbelievable. And obviously, listen, in their eyes, she's worth it. But with all this numbers, all the Democrats, all this, bro, it's shifting. How can they, in their right mind, still keep paying her that? I don't understand, Tom. Can you explain that to me?
I can't explain the economics of it. I can only tell you that for the last 2 Allen conferences, where everybody wears their vests and goes up into, the ski resort and all the media people get together.
This is
by
when
the
you
way,
ask for PTO. That's right.
That's what,
Go ahead, keep going.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so basically, I'm not making fun of it. I'm kind of jabbing at it a little bit. But during that conference, there's a lot of technology that's talked. There's a lot of very meaningful stuff that affects our lives that's talked about. But guess what? There's been 2 guys walking around, one of them trying to sell MSNBC, CNBC, and a bunch of other channels. Hey, we're going to spin them off as a package. You want to buy it? And you've had David, Zaz, as they call him, the Warner Brothers owner of CNN, has been trying to sell CNN. And the good news, by the way, I had to make a conclusion from 2 different stories I read, so I can't say that someone said this exactly. But I'll tell you what I inferred, and I believe I was making a fair inference of it. They love the fact that Caitlin Collins is only on a $3.5 million contract, and she's actually holding her own as an anchor in the seat. But they love the fact that she's $3.5 million. You know why? Because when they go to the next guy, hey, guess what? And when you buy CNN, you get Caitlin Collins, and she's on a rookie contract. We've been having to chop everybody else's contract, and we took Jim Acosta, we moved him to midnight, made him quit. It was such a cool trick.
Good job.
And we got rid of that contract, and then we're cutting everybody else. We cut Tapper, we cut all these people. But guess what? You get the rookie in the anchor chair, and she doesn't cost much. What about Anderson Cooper? We're going to cut him too, but we got to wait. We need an opportunity to do it. That's what's going on. And now Lawrence O'Donnell is out there. And by the way, if you don't read literature, you won't understand this. Like Don Quixote, he's worn out. Because what did Don Quixote do? He hallucinated and he thought the windmills were monsters, and he kept attacking the windmills until he kept falling off his horse. Well, guess what, Lawrence O'Donnell? You've turned things into, you're hallucinating, and now you're really tired of it. Well, you're tired of what? You're tired of trying to find a point you're going to make, And you know what? Come sit down on the podcast. Explain to us. We'd love to hear it. Where do you think this goes? Where do you think this ends, Lawrence? But you're exhausted because you're exhausted doing something that's not getting any traction. It's no wonder you're exhausted.
I
believe it.
Here's a question, Tom. Why did the right do so well under Biden? Why? And by the way, here's the other part. Why did CNN do so well under Trump? The first time around.
Because with Trump, it was fear. It was the end of the world. It was Hitler. It was he's going to end everything. He's going to start the war. It was Russia collusion, Russia agent bullshit.
And the administration could have executed better with greater clarity on some key points.
Sure, because there was a lot of people, the swamp and all this other stuff.
A lot of people were getting fired going in and out.
But so the only reason they're not exceeding is why? They would be exceeding if what?
If they couldn't get the actual facts out and the public couldn't talk about it. One of my opinions,
if there was something truly negative to hit, that the American people would believe.
That's it. The point is, the games are no longer working, and they don't have another play in their playbook. The playbook is fear. The playbook is games. The playbook is fantasies. The playbook is he is going to start World War III. The playbook is that, and it's no longer working. Their business models on 3 C words: conflict, controversy, change. So you can't go after girls, because you did that in 2015, 2016. You try to do with E. Jean Carroll and Kara McDougal and whatever you want to go through, all those girls that you went through.
Stormy Daniels.
You can't go through the money stuff. That didn't work. You can't do the DOJ stuff. That didn't work. What are you going to do next? You have to understand, this is like a dramatic play, because it's like a sports team. When you're going with Bill Belichick and you got some of these great coaches, Bill Walsh, you go through their playbook, boom, bunch of plays. When you go through Vince Lombardi, he was known for the one play. that he would go and do 12-hour sessions and teach the coaches in 12 hours for one play. You know what the play was called? The play was called the sweep, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a rushing play.
Okay, it was a rushing play. And he would teach every coach on this one play until eventually got what happened to some teams.
The defense adjusted.
The defense adjusted, like, shit, this is not going to work all the time anymore, right? But it's a great play that they did. CNN has one play. What is it? Spread rumors, talk trash, put fear, propagandas, and this is what's going to work for us, okay? And then let's all say the same thing, and then they tried it. Now they're sitting there saying, guys, what is our next playbook? They have to literally, boom, get rid of their playbook and move on. But they don't want to do it. The Don Lemons, what's he still saying on Bill Maher? Blacks can't be MAGA and be rational, right? Well, they would find it insulting. Well, the truth is insulting. The truth is offensive, right? They don't know how to pivot and adjust today, and they're trying to see why. So it's going to be challenging. Adam.
I was just going to say one thing. You said that David, I think Zaz is the CEO of CNN. I think it became Mark Thompson, but I thought
No.
new CEO
He's Warner
of,
Brother Discovery
yes.
that owns the whole stack.
I thought that the new CEO of CNN is Scott Jennings, according to PBD.
It is. He's the CEO. He's the best CEO they got.
Okay.
They may as well hire that guy.
I just want to confirm that's my sources are correct.
Forgive me.
According to reliable sources from what I hear on CNN.
He owns CNN right now. Scott Jennings is the owner of CNN, but a different kind of an owner. Not the kind of an owner that we're thinking shareholders. He owns
as in
CNN.
you got owned.
Yeah.
Like make daddy a sandwich type of owner.
Like
Who's your
everybody in CNN needs to make him a sandwich every day he comes in. I don't care what kind of a sandwich it is. If it's like a lobster roll, make it. Salami, do it. Mortadella, go for it. Goat cheese, do it. gov't. Anything and everything.
Where you having
make
sandwiches,
it
PBD?
for Daddy Scott Jennings. So yes, he's the guy that's got that thing going on over there. Anyways, let's go to the next story here. Next story I want to get to is within the Autopen. Let's go to tariffs. Canadians' latest plan to hit America where it hurts. You ready for this, folks? You're gonna think I'm joking. I'm serious. When yesterday I kept asking these guys if this was a joke or not, and they're not joking, folks. This is a Daily Mail story. Okay, Canada, angered by an escalating trade war with the U.S., are pushing to ban Canadian-owned adult site Pornhub in America. No, where it draws nearly 40% of its traffic as a retaliatory strike. Matthew Pujitsky, a Canadian who's gone viral, called it Canada's secret nuke and a mic drop moment, told the New York Post, if Canada would ban Pornhub in the States, we win the trade war. That's it. There is no trade. Rob, is this the clip, Rob?
Yes. So what this originally started out with was this comedian. He was joking around and made a skit. That skit then caused people in Toronto to create a petition to actually have the government of Canada ban Pornhub. But the guy was just joking around. Here's the clip.
Funny.
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, everybody, the Americans are hitting us with tariffs. We gotta fight back. What do you got? We can shut down every single Tim Hortons they have in the U.S. Nobody likes Tim's anymore. It tastes like piss. What else? Okay, what about Lululemon? That's Canadian. Okay, now we're talking. Keep going. All right, here's one. Pornhub. That's Canadian? Yep, Pornhub is Canadian. You're telling me we had a nuke this whole time and no one told me about it? Yeah, we can totally just ban Pornhub in the States and that'll give us an advantage, right? Oh, you don't say. Yeah, that's an advantage. We fucking win. That's it. Mic drop. What else are they gonna do? Knit?
Rob, so this gets people to actually want to do it? Tell me you're joking, Rob.
No, so it caused a guy in Toronto to create the petition that he wrote for the Canadian government.
Mark Olimpo guy?
Yes.
Mark Olimpo followed stating this petition urges the Canadian federal government to enact legislation restricting Pornhub services. Primarily adult content streaming from being accessed within the United States, though it's only generated 52 signatures so far. Okay, can you imagine how embarrassing that is, by the way? Tom, you said you had thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this story? I'm actually really curious your angle.
I feel like I just fell into an ancient Seinfeld episode. You remember Soup Nazi? That was the name of the episode.
Yeah,
remember that?
No soup for you.
It says, no boobs for you. You know, this is like Canada,
Okay,
right?
okay,
no
Tom, I see
boobs
what
for
you-
you.
see what you
And
got
so,
going on.
So let's do an economic case study. Step 1, the government says, great idea. Turn off Pornhub to the United States. Step 2, 2 weeks later, hey, why are the tax receipts down coming to our government? Because Pornhub lost 70% of its business and is not paying taxes on 70% they didn't collect. Oh, so we shut down the site that's all about screwing and we screwed ourselves? Yes, sir, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So if you really play this out, it's just a horribly bad idea. But what it says something else about what's going on below the surface. What's going on below the surface, the reason the comedy's coming out, the reason things are coming out, because there is a lot of common sense. You look at the same kind of polls like Rasmussen, you can look in the U.S., and there are common sense Canadians that are saying, wait a minute, why are we picking this? Why are we choosing to escalate this fight? Why are we choosing to do this? We need to be careful here. And there's a related Canadian story, if I can go to it real quick, Pat.
Go
Is that
for
okay?
it. Yeah, go for it.
Canada is turning to K Street. Now, whenever you hear K Street, you should translate in your mind highly overpaid lobbyist in Washington, D.C. K Street is where all the big lobbying companies that have, you know, all of the senators and congressmen on speed dial, and they know exactly what buttons to push. They know who's on where. Well, guess what? Canada's states, they're called provinces. Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories, 13 states, basically.
Sure.
So one of them is Saskatchewan, which has a ton of oil. And their governor, think of it like a Newsom or a DeSantis, the guy there, a premier, they call their governors premiers. So Premier Scott Moe called Louisiana and said, hey, you know what? I really like you. You like me. Let's make sure these energy trade things that we're doing keep going along smoothly because it helps my state. This was followed by Alberta, which is the Texas. It's right in the middle. It's directly north of like Minnesota, Montana. And it is the Texas of Canada. It's got a lot of agriculture, a lot of cows, and a lot of oil. So they call Alberta the Texas of Canada. And their premier, Francois Legault, is like, hang on a second. You know, we got to be careful with this. He's Quebec, by the way, Francois
Quebecois.
Legault.
Let's hear your French accent, Tom.
So we've got... We here in the U.S. have governors that are receiving phone calls from 4 of the largest states in Canada saying, hey, on this energy and other stuff thing, let's see if we can work together. After a week ago, Doug Ford backed off the electricity tariff in one day because he got slapped by Trump. And so what you're seeing here in the humor of this, you've got common sense Canadians and their governors of their provinces are standing tall and saying, right, even as the government is doing things, these guys are moving around and trying to get common sense into this conversation.
Listen, I think if they shut down Pornhub, it'd be a freaking win for us. And I honestly, the site's been caught doing what? Hosting trafficking abuse, straight up crimes, but big tech and our government just let them slide. I think porn is freaking poison. It wrecks confidence. It fries the brain. The, testosterone levels in men are down. Good, cancel it. I can care less about them and their stupid tactics. Canada is just like that barking dog at the fence, Pat, that we're just like, yeah, it just barks for no reason and never bites. I think that'd be a freaking win. Get rid of freaking porn. I stopped watching it years ago, and it's one of the best things that's ever happened in my life.
Least, you stopped watching it at least like 2 or 3 months.
2 days ago. Yeah. No, I don't watch porn.
Well, congrats.
So, yeah.
Well,
Adam's been very quiet.
Adam's been very quiet this whole time.
I didn't want to tell you the
You guys
truth
want,
about
you don't
what
want to
happened,
see what's
guys.
on his iPad.
Yeah,
He's a
don't want to see
connoisseur.
what's on my iPad right now. I'll tell you that much.
epic.
I just made that
But
word
there's
up.
certainly economic warfare going on between United States and basically all of our trading partners, whether it's China, whether it's Mexico, or it's Canada, which is leading to economic nationalism. People basically fighting. I mean, you were going to fly up to Boston to go see a Canadian hockey game against the United States. But Trump feels very strongly that the United States has been taken advantage of for the last 40 years. And what a plan by this Canadian guy to ban Pornhub. By the way, when you ban Pornhub, they're just another site's just going to pop up.
10,000.
So,
yeah.
I don't see I don't know how much this is going to escalate. But what's funny was Justin Trudeau.
Why is this a hill you want to die on?
It is.
Adam, why?
Why is it?
I'll
Tell me, because what I want to know is why is this in your top 2?
Yeah, why?
I'll tell you why, Pat. Because in his final act of Prime Minister, in addition to banning Pornhub, Justin Trudeau made everybody download Grindr.
Really?
Yeah, everyone had to do it in Canada. That was his mandate. Because he's a male feminist.
Yeah.
And to the funny people in the chat, yes.
Well, his email
I
changed.
did
You can't get him
a,
at justin@canada.gov. So
true.
he's got to say, find me on Grindr.
It's true. So
By the way,
he gave us all free membership.
If
so
they
I took
cut
him up on
that
his
clip
offer.
of Tom alone, Tom is not on Grindr. I just want to
Yes.
put that for some of the people. That was just because sometimes people cut the clips and these
Yeah.
videos are played at different places,
Yeah.
and they try to look for Tom. That was just but that's something he just said. Don't. It's not literal. I know.
Yeah.
I know it's a hill you want to die on.
No,
but
no,
I
but
don't think it's.
but
on
I'm
Tom's-
on it.
Yeah, that's a different story. All right, let's go to the next one. Rob, what is this recent podcast that Adam keeps talking about? We should all watch. What's this podcast you guys are promoting?
I have a promo clip if you'd like.
Oh,
me to
go
play.
for it. This podcast
is
my
Adam,
favorite podcast.
Adam's been
Go ahead.
drooling over this.
Oh no, I'm in the shower there
Adam's
with
in
him.
here.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Dylan, this is
Go ahead,
Dylan
Rob.
Mulvaney. Go for it.
In the shower, on a walk, the Dylan hour, feeling sweet, feeling sour. I feel nothing. The Dylan hour,
God.
my couch is open, it's better than therapy.
Testicles are out.
Call you bottom boys, my bisexual family.
Bottom boys.
One and all, disassociate with me. It's free.
Oh.
Grab a drink or two or three. You have no friends. All good, you got me. It's the Dylan hour.
Oh my.
Love ya.
That was painful.
That dude is crazy,
Listen,
bro.
On behalf of the audience, we are sorry. Okay.
Oh,
I know
my
that was
God.
tough for many of you. For those of you that left us to go watch the Dylan Mulvaney podcast, congratulations. We will miss you. But what a very you know what I'd want to know? I would actually pay to see the profile of viewers of who watches the podcast. I'd actually want to know who watches it. What are you watching it for? What are the type of people that watch it?
Oh, a bunch of dudes that want to pretend that they're women and that they're victims, and that. By the way,
What if he becomes their Joe Rogan they've been with?
oh my God,
Pat, listen, Pat, I got
that's the savior.
Yeah, by the way, can you see Variety or Hollywood Reporter, the left, Joe Rogan, Dylan Mulvaney? Can you see that? What category would
The
that be
crazy
under?
thing is, I could very much see
I
them
agree.
trying to scream.
I agree.
This is it. We found him.
Dylan
Her.
Mulvaney, the
the
Rogan of the
person.
left. It's here. It's Heather. Right?
It's so freaking
Anyways,
bad.
let's go back. Let's go to this next story here because But guys, we just did that for Adam. Adam wanted to see
Adam
what.
Well,
Sure.
Pat,
So,
I have bad news for you, man.
you're the first guest.
I'm under contract negotiations right now.
As the co-host,
Listen, if we don't
call
work it
for
out,
reference.
Pat,
Please
if
call
we
for
don't work it
reference.
out, I'm going to be his
We will
new
give a very good reference
co-ho.
for Dylan.
Thank you.
Could he have not chosen a different name? He's got a
'Cause there's a
great
stud named
name.
Dylan
Yeah,
that we
he is.
know.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the next one here. Tom, what is going on with Chuck Schumer? Something happened here, right, with the infighting. Charlemagne the God says Schumer and Jeffries should step down. The U.S. Senate passes stopgap funding bill to avert government shutdown. Rob, is this the Charlemagne? Go ahead and play this clip, and then, Tom, I'm going to come to you next. Go for it.
The party of inaction, the Democrats have failed to protect the interests of the American people. And you know why, Dems suck at messaging? Because they never talking about nothing. And they do nothing. So guess what? To me, they all got to go. Like Dems don't just have a messaging problem, they got a leadership problem. The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, they should all step down. And any Dem who isn't fighting for the people and standing with the party should be primary. Like, how can you say the bill sucks, but you're passing it anyway? Like, you're not going to even try to, present something different?
Right.
Try
Tell him,
to
Leonard.
negotiate nothing?
Tell him, Leonard.
It sucks, but we're going to pass it anyway.
Yeah, that's been the commentary. Basically, I think a lot
You couldn't
of
get
the
a better
world
camera?
agrees with you on that because it just seems as though the Democrats can't come together on anything.
Nothing.
So
Ever.
yeah,
Nothing at all. Nope.
So what's,
All
the point
right, so
what's the point of voting for them? Like, literally.
well,
He's just figuring this out.
She had a hard time with that one.
She had a very,
Tom,
very hard
thoughts?
time.
You know what I like to talk about? Downstream problems and
Yes,
that
upstream.
really are caused by upstream problems. Well, everyone's angry at the result. Doggone it, Schumer voted for this. That son of a gun has to go. He needs to be primaried. He has to do all this. So all of the our hero Chuck, that was last week. This week, now Chuck's got to go. So I look at that. That's the polluted pond they're all upset about. And so you go upstream and you see what happened. What happened was Chuck Schumer was actually thinking strategically. And yes, I use Schumer and strategically in the same sentence.
Can't believe you did that.
I did. And I'll tell you what he was worried about. He was worried about that if there was a government shutdown, that Trump doesn't have the Autopen. He's just got a lot of pens, real pens in his hand. And he was worried that there were going to be executive orders and that they were going to send Doge out to do a couple things under emergency orders, which were available to the president. So Schumer was worried that Trump and Musk were going to take executive actions when the government shut down. And basically, I believe Schumer was threatened specifically with that. So what did Schumer do? He cut the best deal he could on the bill, packed some pork in it, got some things for a few constituents, and said, we got to go with it. We got to pass the CR, continuing resolution, so that the government has enough money, enough gas in the tank to keep operating. That's what Schumer did. But everyone lost their mind because they wanted Schumer to do what he did last time. To say, I'm not cooperating with Trump. You're not going to do it. Remember the argument they had in front of the fireplace in the Oval Office? And then Trump finally said, Chuck, I'll take it. I'll take that one. Make that on me. I'll take that. Remember that.
Yes.
Well, this time it's a different playing field because Trump has changed the playing field. But that's what happened. And so now you got Charlemagne the God and people. Guys, you got to go look upstream and see why Schumer did this. It's because you were getting outplayed. You were getting out-negotiated and out-positioned, and Schumer was in a corner, and he had to do it. And now everybody's coming unglued. And Nancy Pelosi saying, who knows exactly what happened. She actually breaks ranks and says, Chuck should listen to the ladies more, and she's trying to have some relevance and some toss in there. But come on, that's what happened.
And what's Nancy Pelosi's title right now? Is she anything?
She's just
a Democrat.
Senior
representative. Okay, then she
right now,
former Speaker of the House.
I'm sorry, that's her blood alcohol level.
Let's be grown-ups, Tom. Come on.
Well, we are, but she's nobody. Who the hell cares what the hell she has to say?
She was the
Speaker
of the House.
She's the has-been. Yeah,
she's still pulling the strings, guys.
She's
like when Biden
strings,
stepped down, she was the person that was like, it's time for you to go because you're rooting the down ballot. You might not like her, but you should respect her. She actually has more balls than a lot of people in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, evil.
Days.
And by the
evil
way,
More than Dylan Mulvaney.
she didn't come to the microphone and help Chuck Schumer. She sat there and let Chuck Schumer take the shot.
When?
On the weekend, she came out and said,
he's the
Chuck,
Senate.
you should really listen to the ladies. She said that.
Yeah.
And so rather than saying
he's the leader
hey,
in the Senate,
she could have said,
no longer
Chuck's
the leader.
in a tough
Hakeem
spot.
Jeffries.
Chuck's in a tough spot. We think there was an unelected official named Elon Musk that they were going to use executive actions and we had to act and this is what we did. That's what she should have said because that's what she really did. And that's what happened. And now everybody like Charlemagne the God and everybody is like, oh my gosh,
Leonard,
you let us down.
A couple of things, like the hills you're going to die on. I feel like every 2 to 4 to 8 years, the same movie comes out again. They're going to shut the government down. Oh my God, what are we going to do? And they just raise the debt ceiling. They do a continuing resolution. The only time they shut it down was when Chuck and Nancy were in what you called when you were sitting down with President Trump. You said, my favorite part of your entire administration was when you went vlog style. And he goes, you know what, Chuck, I'll take it. I'll own it. And a lot of people basically were out of work for a couple months. I don't think Chuck wants to be in that situation anymore, this part right here. But what I found to be, you want to play that real quick?
Consequences, Mr. President.
Like you just said.
That's right. And that's why the country is doing so well.
For the president.
That was it.
Anyway. So he didn't want round 2 of that at all. By the way, how old do you think Chuck Schumer is? Look at these two men right here. How old do you think Chuck Schumer is? Best guess.
82.
82. Tom?
I think Schumer is only about 76.
76?
Wow, 74?
187 years old. Yeah. He is 4 years younger than Donald Trump.
You don't look
Trump is 78. This dude looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Like he looks like he's falling apart. His glasses are falling off his face. He probably should step down. He's been, I think, a senator since I want to say late 90s, been in the House of Representatives.
He's a grill master,
since
though.
the early 80s.
Yeah, grill master.
This is when he was making cheeseburgers on a
right.
grill that was off.
Off with raw meat and just a big-ass block of cheese.
And you don't put the cheese on there until the burger's basically
So
done.
you tell him, Tom.
Look at that guy. He's falling apart.
But here's what I will say.
He's not wearing a bra.
We're focusing on Chuck Schumer because it's genuinely easy to laugh at. But going back to Charlemagne the God,
Leonard,
we're not talking about who else he called out. He called it a very specific person, and that person is the Senate Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries. Insert minority joke, Vinny.
He's one of the worst.
Okay.
He's one of the worst divisive, racist type of people.
I'd love to see Hakeem Jeffries go on the Breakfast Club and explain himself. That's what I would love to see, because Charlemagne Lagarde had very not so nice words about the Democratic Party, the Democratic establishment at this point.
Yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries is establishment as it gets.
You know where in Washington, what he
Okay.
had outside of his office, how many flags of BLM, LGBTQ, rainbow. He's one of that. He's one of those, bro. He's the worst.
Who's this?
That guy's
Hakeem?
Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries.
We walk by his office.
I'd be interested in seeing that conversation take place in the Breakfast Club.
I'd be interested in him sitting down and explaining to some rational people, say, were you in a corner? What'd you do there? You're taking shots from your own constituency and some of the leaders in the podcast and everything. What happened, Hakeem? What's the plan? I'd like to hear that.
Zero.
Let's go to the next story here. We're going to see what's going to happen with this one. But Andrew Tate, okay, cannot hide fury as Florida brings back yet more legal trouble. This is The Guardian. Tate, 38 years old, self-styled influencer, and his brother Tristan, where they face charges of Tate vented on X to his 10.8 million people, writing, "Every day you don't arrest me proves your clown talking lies for political points." While the lawyer Joseph McBride called it a weak attempt by a lame duck governor to hold on power, targeting DeSantis, who declared their toxic masculinity not welcome. The Tate duel, USA-UK, expect a warm U.S. reception from Romania. Lifted travel restrictions amid Trump's administration ties. Donald Trump Jr. dubbed their prior detention absolutely insanity, but instead, Uthmeyer's probe involving search warrants and subpoenas and seizure of the Tate's electronics fueled Tate's rage, evident in a podcast with right-wing host Candace Owens, where he fumed, "I could have chosen anywhere. I could have gone to Thailand. I could have gone to Dubai, and this is the welcome I get." Adam, your thoughts?
So Tate ain't going to stop calling out the Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, or the Attorney General. Hung out with Tate this weekend. Justin Waller was there. My buddy Chris Humphries was there. We had a great time. A couple ladies were there. I think we have an image of that night. But we actually talked about this exact thing because we were in Florida, in Miami. You don't need to play the audio. But we're having a great time. Dre London there. That's Post Malone's manager. We were in Giselle, the restaurant, which is above 11. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Don Landres. And I said, listen, how do you like Florida? What's going on? By the way, Pat might meet us out at 2 a.m. He's like, Pat's not coming out.
I only do after hours. Yeah. You told him that?
I said,
he's like,
yeah. He's like, Pat ain't coming out.
Pat ain't coming
So I'll
out.
send you that video. But I said, why do you think they're going after you? Because I said, the most interesting thing that you said on the podcast, there was many things. He was on fire. I said, why are you so angry? He said, typically the way that it works is you find the crime and then you try to find the culprit. In this situation, they found the man, and now they're just trying to find a crime. Here's a guy who hasn't been in Florida in 6 years. You didn't want to open up any investigations? Were there any allegations at any point during the whole Romania situation? The UK has brought up allegations. At no point you wanted to bring this up. Now, I firmly believe if he did something wrong, justice should prevail and will prevail. Justice is blind. But in my opinion, what's going on in Romania these days, in my opinion, they're slow dripping the fact that they're probably going to set him free. All right, you can go travel. You're no longer on house arrest. Because don't forget, Romania is going to have to save face. Again, my opinion. You lock him up. You lock his brother up. You all these allegations. You completely ruin his entire reputation. And what have you brought? What charges do you have? The UK, nothing is stuck in the UK. So there's a lot of people that are wondering what's going to happen with Tate. Now, on the flip side, I got a lot of hate from my friends, certain people I know. How could you hang out with this person? I don't know. We've had nothing but a good time with Tate. You're not going to agree with everything anyone says. But every time we've hung out with the guy, we've had a great time, respectful. People love him. People taking pictures. Absolute gentleman, top G. So I don't think Florida has anything on him, and I don't think anything's going to stick.
I think this is what people want to know. When Tom was partying with him on Friday night, and the ladies were around, and you guys were like hardcore going, club to club.
Tom was rolling on Molly.
How did Tate? Was there any level of insecurity with the amount of ladies and attention that Tom was getting versus going to? That was my biggest concern.
Were you pissed?
Were you mad? I saw the videos.
Yeah.
I mean, guys were asking Tom to sign bras, BizDoc, and all this EBITDA on different things. How did he handle that?
It was kind of weird because Tate and I were in the VIP. There's like, oh my gosh.
How many girls?
It was incredible. It's like 37 boobs. Wait, that's an odd number. That can't be right.
Yeah.
So Tate is there. We're not drinking. And they got this bottle service going for everybody else. Everybody's being crazy. And I felt bad. Yeah. I just felt bad. I later told him, I said, hey, look, I know you're coming back, getting back acquainted with people and everything. I'm really sorry to distract here. And he's like, no, it's cool. It's all right.
So he understood the fact that your game is at a different level than his.
He completely did.
I'll tell you this. Tate doesn't drink. We did have some nice food. But he was a little intimidated.
Like his Tom was boofing?
Well, it was what?
You never heard of Tom's
Stop, Finney.
Tom boofs drugs.
What? Tom, I didn't know that about you. But I respect whatever you do. But Tate doesn't drink, and Tom had a few cocktails, and Tate was a little intimidated. He's not going to lie.
I didn't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up.
Yeah, anyway.
Let's just keep it here.
The reality is he's not going to stop criticizing the state of Florida.
I've said it for years.
We're going to see what happens.
If the lawyers and the judge and the court has something, do it already. If you have it, do it. Get it over with. Prove it. Show it. Get it over with. If you have all of that stuff already, go out there and get it done. What are you guys waiting for? Why is it taking so long? If you got to do it, right? That's the part that's frustrating for the people. And for those who, there are people that want to see it because, some of the comments he's made about men and women and the videos, everybody's seen all the videos. Yeah. Whatever it is, if they're guilty, do it. If not, if they have to release, it's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be embarrassing for Romania when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people will be unhappy. Anyways, let's go to the next one, okay? This next one is a topic that Adam really wants to comment on because for whatever reason, it's his favorite sport to watch. Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits. All right, so Angel Reese says this. Rob, if you want to play this clip. You know what I love watching? I love watching her highlights of missing shots. Oh. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life. But go, Rob, just go, give this feedback. Give this feedback here. Go for it.
The ones coming this year will still be on the rookie contract again. The ones that the year after, they're going to get more. They probably going to be making more than us. No, they are.
Who's that?
I'm hurt. They are. Yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are. I need to get in the field. You need to come to the meetings. I got to get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. That's a possibility, for real.
We're sitting out.
Is that Shaq's 24 shoes in the back? That's Shaq's shoes when he came out. Yeah, those are Shaq's shoes in the back. So let me read this to you. So they're upset. They want to get paid. Possibility. Reese has been vocal about her low WNBA salary, revealing her $74,000 a year salary doesn't cover rent, stating on Instagram Live, I just hope you know that the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think they pay one of my bills. Reese's financial struggles stem from WNBA salary not matching her past earnings, as her NIL valuation at LSU was $1.8 million, bolstered by deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and Coach, while a 4-year rookie deal was $324,000 with $74,000 due next season. She quipped, hating pays them bills, baby, noting I can't read this, Tom's better. Brand deals, not basketball, sustain her, especially since the WNBA's $200 million revenue last season only allocated 9.3% to salaries, unlike the NBA's 50% share of the $5.3 billion in 2023. Adam, thoughts?
WNBA. And what's her name? Angel Reese. Do it. I fully support your right to strike. So other sports have done it. So other major sports have done it. Here's a quick list for you, PBD. I put this together. Biggest sports strikes in history. 1994, the MLB strike. It was the first time that the World Series was canceled.
I remember.
Mm-hmm. You remember that? In 1998, the NBA went on strike. They canceled the All-Star game for the first time.
No one
The
noticed.
NFL has gone on strike multiple times. 1982, 1987, 2011. You might recall the replacement players. This is when they, I think, based the movie around it, called The Replacement Players. And then the worst was in 2004, the NHL canceled the entire season.
What?
The entire season. You went without noticing it, Vinny. 2004. You were in the Army
I
or
cared, I
the
would've been so
Air
mad.
Force. But here's the catch. Angel Reese, who allegedly has a 200 million revenue for the WNBA. According to my sources, it's actually closer to 150. But what's $50 million? I'll tell you what $50 million is. It's how much money the WNBA lost last year. And that's a little bit better than the year before when they only lost 40 million this past season. So here's the catch when you're going to go on strike. In 1994, MLB, NBA, NFL, what's the number one revenue sport in America? What do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. The MLB, also $11 billion. The NHL, $7 billion with a B. You guys are a alleged $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized by the NBA. There's a viral clip of Draymond Green basically lecturing one of the greatest players in NBA history, WNBA history. I think it's Lisa Leslie. While you're pulling that up, see if you can pull this up. Quick trivia question for you, Vinny. Real quick, rapid fire.
Go.
WNBA stats. Here we go. You're a sports guy. How many teams are in the WNBA?
9?
No, 13. How many games do they play?
80?
40.
Damn it.
Who won the championship this year and who played in the finals?
The Florida Magics.
Nope. The New York Liberty beat the Minnesota Lynx.
Who?
Who exactly? Who was the MVP? She was unanimous. She got all the votes.
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yes.
Yes.
Aja Wilson.
Oh.
You just failed the test,
I'm
buddy.
sorry.
WNBA is coming for you. Here's a clip of Lisa Leslie saying that the WNBA should get paid more.
Oh, no.
Go ahead. And then Draymond Green claps back. Play the beginning of it if you don't mind.
I do feel ourselves to the NBA, but I do feel like the pay gap would be something that, we could just take a donation around the NBA maybe one night y'all don't go to the casinos.
I have something on this, though, because it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I don't think there's anyone in America that supports the WNBA more than NBA players.
100%.
The NBA players support the WNBA like
the most.
More than we probably support the fucking NBA.
Wow. Whoa. So listen, you see how quickly she reversed and went to 100%? Oh, quickly. By the way, LeBron was sitting that. He's the person that asked the question how it should change. I'll say one last point. Ladies who are making $74,000 a year.
For playing 40 games.
Playing 40 games. Somebody called it ROI on your investment. You chose this profession. You know how much you make in the WNBA. If you go to college, you're going to become a major, look at the ROI on the major. If you go to trade school, look at the ROI on that. Whatever your career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this. Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured. Because she's keeping your league afloat. Without her, ain't nobody care about
Okay, let me show you this. I got it. So, Rob, go to ChatGPT and play type the following thing. How much did the WNBA lose in 2024? You can type that up. How much did the
$40
WNBA
million bucks.
So
40?
Lose in 2024. They lost 40 million. Year before was 50 million. So it's some progress that they're making.
Yeah.
From the 40-50.
Progress,
now,
guys.
Watch this here. To address the financial situation, I ask, the WNBA is, Rob, if you go up and ask the other question as well, ask, is it true that the WNBA makes money when they don't play? Is it true that the WNBA makes money when they don't play? Ask that question.
What does that mean?
Yes. In a way, the WNBA has historically lost money and receives financial support from the NBA, which means that the WNBA games are not played. The league can actually save money by avoiding operating costs. Did you guys understand what happened right there? So WNBA makes money when so if they go on a strike, the NBA is like, awesome. Okay, however, let me give you some data. Here's the only thing that you got to look at. WNBA has lost money every single year since 1997. According to the reports, the WNBA has operated an annual loss of $10 to $12 million. NBA has owned half of the WNBA financial support. NBA players pay for their salaries, by the way. If the WNBA has broadcasting and sponsorship agreements that often pays out regardless of how many games are played, if the league cuts costs while the 2026 go a little bit lower, Rob, if the NBA runs on, bottom line is that WNBA doesn't make any money. Go back to the other question that we asked all the way at the top. There's a number that came up, which is their argument, which you have to kind of defend the argument that they're making. WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games, okay? You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance in a year? 48%. That's massive for them. So that's the argument they're making. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
Then, and when it comes down to merch from 23 to 24, they're up 601%. Then when it comes down to being broadcasted on ESPN, they average 1.2 million viewers per game, 170% increase. So the viewership is higher, and they're asking for the money. And if the contract on the back end, the revenue, NBA gets 50+% to players, they do 9.3. There's an argument for it to be played, but you're right. If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with. Tom, any thoughts on this?
This is a business issue, and no one's going to like what I say, but there are hard-working women in the WNBA that are the stateswomen for their team. They're the lead player for their team, the face of the team, and they're out there doing it. But guess what? You know what the reality is? Until the team makes a profit. And by the way, everything you talked about last year is tremendous progress, and it puts them closer to making a profit. Because as soon as they're profitable, they can go on strike, and they can go from 9% of the revenue to 12% of the revenue to 15% of the revenue to 20% of the revenue. But if there's no revenue, you can't get percent of nothing. If they go on strike right now and forced I was reading, even a 15% contract, 2 of the teams will absolutely fail. Because there are owners that own the other half of that, right? There's owners that own half of those teams. The NBA owns the other half. There are 2 teams that basically the owners are like, okay, I got 2 sevens and a jack. I'm out. I'm out of this hand. Because he can't do that. And what they need, and by the way, maybe they should play hard, but not flagrant foul. You know, Caitlin Clark, can be, the face of the league. They may not like it's the face of the league. There may be professional jealousies among players, but maybe at face of the league can help things go and get merch, people in seats, and a better TV contract. They're getting a TV contract improvement for the 26th season next year. And so the minute they are a profitable league, the players should do what baseball players and everybody else have done, and saying, sorry, owners, you're making an awful lot of profit there. I think you should move us from 33 to 40% of total revenue. And that's the way it's worked in other leagues. But step one, there's got to be profit to cake.
Tom, quick business question for you. So forget about the WNBA.
I want to move on in 30 seconds from this.
I got it. Here we go. Tom, they haven't made money in 30 years. They're about to have their 30-year anniversary. In general, how long can a business, whether it's a shoe shop, whether it's a pizza shop, whether it's a plumbing store, any business, how long can a business operate at a loss before it folds?
Small businesses that don't make a profit will not see their 3rd anniversary. That's a stat. You can go to the Small Business Administration.
3rd anniversary.
You will never see your 3rd anniversary.
Okay. There's a big difference, though. Here's how you got to look at it. There's some businesses, like if I was the NBA, and the NBA was the face of what? BLM, DEI, ESG, all the bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the NBA was a face of. You know how the NBA views the WNBA? It's marketing dollars. They're losing money every year, but they're gaining votes. That's how they view it. They're viewing it as that.
Yeah.
They're not looking at it as a profitable channel that they have. It's just purely marketing dollars to seem noble and do what they do.
So what will a strike actually accomplish if it's just a marketing fee anyway?
We will see. By the way, I have to tell you, Caitlin Clark, minus what comments she made last year, I have no interest watching her now after the comments that she made. Zero interest in watching her. She was actually exciting.
She got white guilt,
She was
Pat.
actually exciting to watch, and I'm out. And honestly, I was one that was defending her. I'm like, you know what? You want to make a comment like that? another person that's out. I have no interest in watching any of it. She was the one that was going to get an audience like me to sit there and watch a game with a daughter of mine. I got 2 of them. After that comment was made, I'm out. So let me go to the next story here. Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman's kids not mentioned in his will. Here's what could happen to his $80 million fortune. Guys, it's a little weird story here, so let me read it to you. Gene Hackman, 95-year-old Oscar-winning actor known for The French Connection and The Birdcage, and his 65-year-old wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found dead in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home, February 26, 2025, with their wills revealing that Hackman's 3 children, son Christopher and daughter Leslie and Elizabeth, were not included as beneficiaries. TMZ reports that in 1995, Hackman named Arakawa the sole beneficiary of his $80 million estate, a decision complicated by their simultaneous deaths within days of each other. Arakawa had a hantavirus, a rare virus linked to rodents on February 11th, and Hackman from a cardiac event on February 18th, 7 days apart, worsened by advanced Alzheimer's and severe heart disease. Listen to this provision, folks. This is where it gets interesting. The wills included a provision that if they died within 90 days of each other, a.k.a. a simultaneous death, all of Arakawa's assets would go to charity, not to his 3 kids, leaving the children potentially excluded. Since New Mexico community property states adds legal complexity without a prenup from their 1991 marriage, the couple's deaths uncovered after their dogs led responders to Hackman's body have sparked potential legal battles, with Hackman's son Christopher already hiring a prominent California trust and a state attorney to possibly challenge the will. Tom.
Well, 2 things. We saw it in life insurance. And how often do we see it, Pat? That people, whenever we would talk to people about life insurance, what else do we talk about? Trust and will, and making it current and specific. And we had a big sign on the wall that listed all of these prominent people over the course of history that didn't have wills that led to complications. Remember that? And we would be sitting there counseling people, just trying to figure out how much life insurance they needed, and then end up talking about, well, do you even have a will? Do you even have this? You need a trust attorney. You need to go this. And so what you have here is, if it's a will, not a trust, and then what they're saying is, if both of them were in a terrible car accident, the 90-day clause goes like this. Somebody dies in a car accident, and maybe it takes somebody, 30 days to die. Maybe there's no brain activity, there's a head injury, and it takes a while before they say, well, we're going to turn off the respirator here, unfortunately, and it's all done. That's what the 90-day clause is. And the 90-day clause, what they've put in is, okay, well, if we both die in some accident, that's what it is. It's not murder-suicide, it's some accident. Then it goes to charity. And if that's clearly put in their will, there's nothing any of the kids can do about it, but they can contest it.
What the son has to prove, Christopher has to prove that it was suicide, not accident.
Yeah, he's got to prove that there's something up. Because if they both just happen to die within 90 days.
There's nothing they can do.
But the days, like I was saying, do you understand? That's usually a car accident clause. Dad died immediately, Mom hung on, and then she passed.
So, well, I'm going on the weird thing. Like, it just, a bunch of stuff it just wasn't adding up. So now we're hearing that the wife, Betsy, called her doctor a day after the official date of her death. I'm going to say that again. Her doctor said that she called her. She was already dead, but yet she made this phone call, which is kind of weird. And all the stuff with the clause and the charity and everything. Dr. Josiah Child from Cloudberry Health dropped a bombshell saying that Betsy contacted his clinic on February 12th seeking an echocardiogram from Jean, even though the authorities claim she died on February 11th. And let's not forget, she was diagnosed with hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, but showed 0 respiratory distress during the call. Apparently, when you have that disease, you sound like this. She didn't sound anything like that, okay? And then it gets even weirder. Their dog was found dead. And then, so how does a couple, their dog, all die under these weird circumstances, and nobody noticed for, I don't even, how many days was it, Tom? 12 days? It was a bunch of days. All right, just random and bizarre. And then with all this mystery and weird circumstance, this situation yesterday, I sent it to Rob, Pat, reminded me of what actor Randy Quaid, if some of the viewers remember this, he warned us years ago, okay? He said that, and by the way, this is my opinion, but this is what Randy Quaid was saying, that he talked about celebrities being manipulated, their wealth siphoned away, and their own flesh and blood left with nothing. He called them star whackers, which is a ring of estate planners, lawyers, accountants who systematically destroy and even kill Hollywood stars to seize their fortunes. This is him, but this is a clip from 2010, I believe. But he was, by the way, awesome guy. Once this happened, he had to flee to freaking Canada and leave because of everything that they were doing to him to try to get his fortune. Go ahead, Robbie.
For the past 20 years, my wife Evie and I have been the victims of criminal activities perpetrated by a small network of individuals who are out to destroy us personally, professionally, and financially. This network of individuals is manipulating the banking system and the criminal justice system for the purposes of sabotaging our credit and our credibility. Up until a year ago, Evie and I had never had any run-in with the law whatsoever. We are not criminals, nor are we fugitives from justice, nor are we crazy. We are simply artists and filmmakers who are being racketeered on. We believe there are to be a malignant tumor of star whackers in Hollywood. How many people do you know personally who have died suddenly and mysteriously in the past 5 years? I have personally known 8 actors, all of whom
Ooh, he's emotional, dude.
all of whom I have worked with and was close to. Heath Ledger, Chris Penn, David Carradine among them. I believe these actors were whacked, and I believe that many others, such as Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Mel Gibson, are being played to get at their money. In the meantime, many a celebrity's image and marketability is being co-opted and destroyed. Google helps out by keeping the negative stories near the top of a celebrity's webpage because it's the negativity that brings in the advertising revenue.
So with these, and again, speculation. He spoke about this years.
Gene Hackman was 95, though.
No, I understand that, but the wife and the disease and then the dog, it just doesn't add up.
That doesn't add up. But to say somebody tried to take him out, I'm not there because he's 80, he's 95. I mean, if he died at 65, Heath Ledger, totally get it. Okay, fine. He was younger, yes. Targeting of Mel Gibson after he made certain comments and, you know, the anti-Semitism 30 years ago. I don't know when it was when he made some comments and then all of a sudden we saw a drop. I get it. Some of these guys, I get it. I don't know about Gene Hackman. I don't know if that applies to Gene Hackman.
But what about the clause, Pat, with the 90 days and the wife?
That's very weird.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
By the way, I'm curious.
Yeah.
The only thing is I don't think if there's anybody, if I was an investigator and I'm trying to see what's going on here, and I'm not a PI, this is not my space. If I was, I would want to know how she died, not him.
Yes. Yep.
I want to know how she died. I understand how he died. I want to know how she died. That's the one I'm interested in. Where that goes to from here, the guy was 90. I mean, by the way, if you even see the pictures of Gene Hackman, you don't recognize him.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
No, you
find
would.
him in
If
the
you saw
lineup.
him in the streets, you wouldn't realize that's
all.
Gene Hackman. Can you pull up the final pictures? That does not look like Gene Hackman
at all.
Tell me what part of that picture looks like Gene Hackman.
Zero.
He's 95.
That does not look like Gene. You go to Gene Hackman, like peak Gene Hackman. Type in young Gene Hackman. Young Gene Hackman.
Mississippi burning Gene Hackman.
Watch. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we're not.
Yeah, it doesn't look anything like him.
That's not as. Listen, maybe that didn't work.
was-
That's good.
There he is,
Right
Lex,
there. But-
Lex Luthor.
By the way, go back, Rob, and go to the picture all the way
Popeye
to the left.
Doyle.
The second one, or one more lower, Rob. Lower, Rob. Left.
Lower.
See, that's a rough picture right
That's
there.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're in the
Great
military
actor.
and they take pictures like that, you're doomed for the rest of your life because
It's
someone's
over.
going to see those pictures.
Yeah.
They're going to realize your ears are legit.
Yeah.
Right? This guy probably worked communication in the military.
Yeah, for sure.
Pat, I see what you did there, by the way. You were like, hey, Mateo, nice haircut. Hey, Tony, nice suit. See what you did there.
You have to
But
be there.
here's what I will say, because I'm going to take a different angle than Vinny. I haven't followed the story at all. I know you want to move on, but
I have one story. I have one story and we're done. Go for it.
So I haven't followed the story at all, but what stories I have followed are these estate planning fails that Tom was referencing. I feel so grateful and so lucky to be in the industry that I've been in for almost 20 freaking years now, which is
You're
the
old.
insurance. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The insurance, investment, financial planning, and estate planning career sector. So, Rob, I sent you a picture just so you understand the people I have a real job other than this, in case I end up getting fired. I go to this meeting every single year called Heckerling. It's put on by the University of Miami, and all it is are the top estate planning professionals, trusts, ILITs, tax attorneys, everything like that, by massive companies, U.S. Trust, Bloomberg, Charles Schwab, and I have conversations with each of these people. And the amount of people that die with no estate plan, with no trust, the tax ramifications, I know there's a whole argument of like how much the threshold should be. Aretha Franklin, she died, no will. Prince dies, no will. Heath Ledger, outdated will. Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, nothing. Robert Kardashian died, nothing. George Michael, all these people died. The one that hit the closest home to me was, you ever been to Hard Rock Stadium here in Miami for a football game?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know for many, many years it was called Joe Robbie Stadium? Joe Robbie Stadium was the owner of the Dolphins. When he died, he had no estate plan, no insurance. The team was valued at, let's say, $200 million at the time. They go, you owe $100 million. And he's like, the family, we don't have, you have to sell the stadium, you have to sell the team. That's what happens when you have a massive estate plan bill and don't have any plans to pay it.
Yeah. Listen, Rob, between us, Adam's reached a number of pictures for the year. There's a limit.
That's it.
That's the 7th picture I saw of Adam today, and they're all 10 years ago. So I don't know if
We gotta
Adam wants to
update
see
his
himself
headshots.
to show the world how handsome he was 10 years ago. I think that's...
I think I'm better looking now, Pat, but thanks.
Than Gene Hackman. Than Gene
way better
Hackman,
than
maybe,
Gene.
but that's a
He
different
was so
story.
young
Look,
and full of
He
hope.
won a couple Oscars, though. Let's go to the last story, Rob. Last story I want to do, and then we're out. This is the Trump announcing the release of the 80,000 pages yesterday. Rob, if you want to play this clip, go for it.
While we're here, I thought it would be appropriate. We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this, and I've instructed my people that are responsible, lots of different people, put together by Tulsi Gabbard, and that's going to be released tomorrow. We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything. I said, just don't redact. You can't redact. But we're going to be releasing the JFK files, and that would be tomorrow. Do you have anything else to add to that, Carolyn? So that's a big announcement. They've been waiting for that for decades. Then I said during the campaign I'd do it, and I'm a man of my word. So tomorrow you have the JFK files. What time will they be released? Tomorrow afternoon. Okay.
Have you seen what's in the files? Have you read them?
I've heard about them.
Was there anything interesting?
It's going to be very interesting.
Was there an executive summary supplied to you, Mr. President?
No, I'm not doing summaries. You'll write your own summaries. It's many pages. Is it 80,000 pages? Approximately 80,000 pages. So it's a lot of stuff. And you'll make your own determination.
Where's the question about Epstein, Rob? Do you have that one?
Yes, that was over the course of the weekend. Here he is sitting down with Cheryl Atkinson.
Go for it.
A lot of intrigue surrounding the release of the Epstein files, Martin Luther King files, John F. Kennedy files. Some current and former FBI agents are saying, some of them telling me, that they feel the FBI establishment came out ahead in the standoff sort of with the New York FBI field office over releasing the records, and your Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding them but not getting all that she wanted. Is that process still on track? I think that's one of the most often questions I've been asked the last couple of days, to release these records on Epstein, MLK, and JFK.
Well, Pam Bondi's done a phenomenal job in every respect. And there could have been some holdback. I haven't heard too much about it, but they could. But the bottom line is the records are getting out. The Kennedy records are getting out. Those are the ones they really wanted to see the most, were the Kennedys. And during my administration, as you know, I released a lot of them, but then a lot of people started coming in, people that I respected, people that worked for the administration, asked me not to release the rest.
Mike Pompeo.
And I respected that. They gave me certain reasons, but I respected that. And I did say, I must tell you, I said that probably wish I did release the whole thing, because I have no idea what's in there. But since then, they found, and we found, 2,000 more documents on Kennedy. And the one they want most is Kennedy, and it's going to be released. It's moving along, and it's moving along pretty rapidly. It doesn't go that
weeks
rapidly.
maybe, or longer?
I say weeks. Yeah, I say weeks.
And what's the other one you got, Rob? What is press
This is
secretary?
the deputy press secretary was asked last night about the release of the files and if the American public would be shocked. Here's his response.
The American people will have their hands on these documents, and there will be a story to tell. I won't preview that story, but let me tell you, the American people are truly going to be shocked at what they see.
I'm asking you honestly, do any of you believe at this point that we are going to, like, anything that we're going to see? Because think about it, Tommy. If Mike Pompeo at the time was the acting director of the CIA, he was the one that was telling Trump, trust me, do not release this. What could possibly be the reason that the director of the CIA says, do not put this out? I know they always talk about national security. Why do you think, Tom?
Well, the speculation, the easy speculation, and it's not really speculation, the easy conclusion is, well, the establishment members of the CIA went to Mike, who was the director of the CIA at that time, and said, the credibility of everything that we're doing and all that we do around the world and in the United States to keep us safe. You may not like us, you may poke jokes at us, but we are out there, overthrowing governments, doing all these things in the name of democracy and keeping us safe. You can't let us be exposed like this for something that none of us that are here did 50, almost 60 years ago. He says, you can't do that, Mike. And Mike blinked and said, you're right, we won't do it. But now it's coming out. And what I think is going to come out, Roger Stone was posted on X last night about his book. And there's a lot of people that are on the same page that I am. I've stayed away from some of the fringe theories because LBJ plus CIA is so easy. Now, let's see if we all find out. Let's see if we all find out. And that's really what it comes down to.
And let me ask you a question, Tom. Let's say we just find out, worst case scenario, Adam, they come out today, and in these documents, we find out that the CIA was involved, Lyndon B. Johnson, they all had a hand in murdering a sitting president. What happens?
Well, then we have a spot on our history, just like the kings and queens of Europe do, because every now and then you had a nephew knock off the king, and then his aunt, the queen, would be queen. And so murders of leaders that came from inside is nothing new. And I think there's been so much doubt and speculation from the American people. I think what most people are going to say is, that makes sense, and that's what a lot of people were saying. I'm glad we finally know. But there's no one to prosecute.
Yeah.
There's no one to put in jail.
Yeah.
They've all long since passed away. But I think what it says is, I'm glad my government finally released it. I think that's what you're going to get.
Okay, and I agree with that, but are you going to get angry American citizens that say that, so you mean to tell, everybody's dead, but the agencies, are you not, like our government murdered a sitting president? It doesn't get worse than that.
We're about to find out.
No, what I'm saying, but my thing is this. I don't think we're going to find out. I don't think any of those 80,000 documents, Pat, are going to say anybody was involved. This isn't.
Well, we're hours away.
I'll bet. Anybody want to make a friendly? I'll bet. There's nothing that you're going to find out that's new. You're not going to find out anything about the 9/11 documents. You're not going to find out anything about Jeffrey Epstein because the system will fail. But like I said with JFK, let justice be done, though the heavens fall. Everybody keeps worrying about, we can't let them know, like Pompeo's attitude. We have to know because that means everything that we've stacked, this house of cards, is going to fall down. But if that's the case, then so be it.
I think all Americans are going to react how they react. But there's no one to focus your anger at because they're all dead, and this is 60 years ago. You can have anger, but there's no one to say, we should go get that guy and drag him into court and then, string him up and all those kind of things. There's nothing for that. And so when the files come out, I'll be looking forward to the summaries and the headlines to see if we finally find out. But even more so, my parting shot, I just want to, hopefully we're also welcoming back two astronauts that were trapped in space for a very long time to seeing that maybe the government get together and do something good and bring someone back alive rather than looking back 60 years for someone who was murdered.
Yeah. Vinny, I love you. Just take your blood pressure to medicine tomorrow.
I feel fantastic.
I don't want, but Rob, I have a picture of JFK and I, if you want to pull that up.
Pat, what do you think? Pat, what do you think? You think we're going to find anything out?
So he said something that if you don't want to do it, you don't do that. He says, I should have released it. I should have released it back then. And then he says, I asked them not to redact anything of the documents. I asked them, let them see everything. If they want to see it, let them see it. Okay. So, I mean, this has been a broken record right now. Who's going to get a black eye for what happens here? The CIA, possibly Mossad, okay? Lyndon Johnson. Let's kind of go through who it is. Those are three names that I got.
Cuba.
And maybe
Mafia.
Cuba. Maybe Mafia, but Mafia's already had a black guy. Mafia actually will take it as a badge of honor.
Are you saying black guy?
No, black eye.
Okay, gotcha.
You are thinking of Don Lemon.
I'm thinking of Don Lemon this
No.
entire time.
So, but this is the part that you got to be thinking about. You know, I think the moment they release all of this, and I've said this over and over again, I think the level of trust in the CIA is going to skyrocket. Skyrocket. I think it's going to go boom, boom.
Of the CIA.
Yes.
Even if they were involved.
Yes, because eventually they got it wrong. And now it's public. And remember how earlier I was talking about every once in a while human beings, people want to see mistakes being made. We want to see that even the U.S. government made a couple mistakes. It's okay. It's okay. We are trying to present the system as a perfect system. Yeah. No, we don't walk on water. We made mistakes in the past. And now is the time to show it because this was so long ago that the history, the only reason John F. Kennedy is going to be easier and MLK is going to be easier is because a lot of those people are dead.
Yeah, good point.
The reason why the Epstein one is tough is probably because one of the guy that is a linchpin. You know what a linchpin is? Are you familiar with what a linchpin is?
Main.
Well, do you know what? You ever read the book, Rob? Can you go pull up linchpin? So linchpin, it just
ties the whole thing together.
Ties the whole thing up. It's typically a person. Like, can you go to images? Okay, do you see that? It's the one thing that keeps it from falling apart, right? If the linchpin is off, the wheels fall off. So this guy, Seth Godin, wrote a book about this and trying to find a linchpin of organizations, trying to find a linchpin in a business. Like, you know, Apple has a linchpin. What is it? Blue text. What else is it? Download music. What else is it? Everything is it's a linchpin, right? If there is a person that is the linchpin behind closed doors that's helped the administration a lot now, and he went to that island, and you reveal this, and he is, you know,
implicated,
and he's implicated, and he has got information that's helping you negotiate better because you have certain things to, you know what I'm saying?
Basically, if you can prevent World War III by leaving this person's name out of it, what do you do?
That's the tough part where you are not there to make that decision, and you will never know. And there's certain things that presidents will go to their grave that nobody will ever know about. This is one of those things.
Yep.
Okay. So that's my only concern because a lot of the people that are on the Epstein thing are alive. Are alive. So there is that fear that I think there's going to be a lot of things being redacted on the Epstein files. I think they may be more comfortable with the John F. Kennedy one.
I agree.
And when we do, there may be a guy whose book is going to sell a lot of copies when he called out Lyndon Johnson and the JFK assassination.
Stone.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Roger Dodger.
Roger Dodger.
Okay. All right, gang. It's been great being with you guys. By the way, to those of you that are in the next circle, I love the fact that you guys are communicating with each other throughout the entire month. I love it that you're on there. A lot of stuff that we don't talk about here. If you haven't yet joined the circle, go download the app and join the PBD podcast circle. And there's plenty of other ones for you to pick and choose from to be part of the circle. I talk to our guys throughout the entire month in PBD podcast circle. Download the app, go in the circle, post your message and say where you're from. Name, occupation, where you're from, and what you love most about the PBD podcast and where you follow it, and maybe a topic that matters to you the most. Post a comment in PBD podcast circle. Looking forward to seeing you there. Rob, Thursday, now the home team?
Yes, with Andrew Schultz. And then Friday, we have Dr. Ron Paul on the program.
Dr. Ron Paul. That's right. It's a surprise. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.